guys on the other safety, and I just tried to hit him as hard as I possibly could, and he fumbled the ball, and thank God Harvey Armstrong recovered the fumble.
Got you a starting job. You made 18 hits the next time, right? You had 11 tackles last week against the Giants, or against the Redskins, rather.
Well, as the coach said, I got the opportunity to play, and I wanted to prove to him and to myself that I not only wanted to play, but that I could play.
Anywhere along the line do you get discouraged, though? I mean, you're not starting, you're playing on special teams. You don't know if you're ever going to get a starting job?
Well, I'd say early in my career, I might have got a little discouraged, but I never gave up on myself. I felt that sooner or later that something would, turn in my direction that would give me the opportunity to play. Either I would create the situation, or you never want it to happen, but there is always a chance that a player may get hurt, and when that opportunity arises for you to get that starting job, you have to do your best. And Coach Campbell decided to make a few changes, and I was inserted into the starting lineup, and I just wanted to perform my best. I didn't know if it was going to give me the starting job for keeps, or if he was going to make some other type of decision to draft somebody, but I just wanted to prove to him that I could do the job for him if I was called upon.
Well, you and Wes are the darlings of the fans of the bet now, They've keyed in on you guys.
Well, I enjoy playing with Wes. He's a hard-hitting guy. He gives 110% all the time. Not only Wes, but the entire defense, the team, as a matter of fact. But Wes especially, I love to see a great hit like that, that he puts on those people. It gets me fired up, and the next thing I want to do is get a hit like that. So that'll create a cancerous type thing amongst the defense, and everybody will start hitting like that.
All right, I've got my own reel of film here of Roy Green. I don't want you to lose any sleep over this, but what are you going to do against Roy Green? Marion, what you guys going to do?
What are you going to do, Ray?
Well, what we're going to do, we're going to try to keep him to a minimum. He's a great ball player. You're not going to stop him completely. You just want to keep things to a minimum, maybe let him catch a couple short passes, and make sure you get him down, because as you see here, he can take a short pass and turn it into a long game.
What you're telling me is you'll let a guy sometimes get one so that you can hit him a couple of licks early in the game first?
Well, sometimes that can play a big part in the game. You let a guy catch a pass, and then you put a good shot on him and maybe shake the ball loose. And
are you buying this, what he's telling me here?
That's a different philosophy. No, I know what he's talking about. Make the big hit after the catch, and make sure that the guy pays for a catch. That's the key. I don't think anyone's out there intentionally saying, hey, catch it, and I'm going to hit you, but to clear that up. But
we're going to have a couple of the guys here in just a moment. But what are your feelings about Lomax, who had all that time and picked your part in game one?
Well, without a doubt, I know he will not have that much time the second time around.
You guarantee that?
I guarantee that. The guys are fired up. We've watched film on him. We've heard a few comments he's made. And we just take a lot of pride ourselves in playing a better game than we did the last time around.
That's why you play him twice in your own division. You get a shot at him again.
That's
Good
right.
luck. Welcome. Nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
As advertised, what do the Eagles think about the game coming up against the Cardinals?
Didn't play up to par the last time we played St. Louis, but this time they're going to have to think about what's going on out there. Because, see, this time we're going down there to play ball. Snow, if it's snowing or whatever, we're going down there to play ball.
What we have to do is go out and stop the run and force them into passing situations. The problem we had last time we played them, we didn't force them into many third and long situations. So we're going to have to get them into a third and long situation and then go after.
Can you believe it? JT with an $18 million contract?
Sure is a long way from the playground.
Think he still drinks Strohs? Yeah. Hey, guys.
JT, man!
Richard. Timothy.
Oh, this is all right. Glad he didn't forget his friends.
Oh, it's Strohs.
Where is the Strohs?
Out by the pool.
The pool?
Strohs and Stroh Light.
Now that's a cooler.
Fire brewed for smoother taste.
There are lots of times when overnight is just not fast enough.
Hello, Federal? I've got to get this to the coast today.
With Zap Mail, we can get an exact copy of something clear across the country in just 2 hours from the minute you pick up the phone. Contracts, documents, drawings, whatever. Incredibly, in just 2 hours. Zap Mail from Federal Express, when overnight is just not fast enough.
Toyota celebrates fall with deals that'll blow you away. Your Toyota dealers have a big inventory of new Toyotas that must be sold this month. So they'll be dealing like never before on thousands of Corollas, Cressidas, Supras, and Tercels. With plenty of extra cabs, lots of 1-tons, vans, 2-bys, 4-bys. Remember, every 60 seconds, someone buys a new Toyota. So hurry and rake in your savings while they last during your Toyota dealers' Fall Festival of Values.
If you can see the difference between this and this, smile, because Gleam can make the same difference in your teeth. You see, only Gleam has calcium P. Laboratory tests prove it gets stained teeth whiter than any leading fluoride brand. Whiter than any gel, whiter than any polish. How much whiter? 30% whiter. And you still get Gleam's proven fluoride protection. So if your teeth aren't as white as they can be, start brushing with Gleam. You'll be smiling. Pretty.
Too much time on my hands. Too much time in the pocket. Too much time for a quarterback to pick you apart.
Well, we've reviewed those film, and it was not our style of football, and we realized that, can't allow that, and I think our guys have ticked off enough about that to perform better.
But there aren't too many teams that get to him. I mean, to Lomax.
No, I tell you, he's got the quick delivery. He's got a great offensive line, but we're gonna have to work at it. We're gonna have to really do that extra push and do what we can. At least get heat. You don't necessarily have to get a guy down to be effective, but we have to get heat.
Well, if you can stop Theismann, you ought to be able to stop Lomax. I mean, as far as roaming around is concerned, because Joe's about as quick as he comes.
Yeah, Theismann, they're a little bit different. Theismann is more of an inside guy. He'll take it at you right now. He does not mind going into the teeth of things, but Lomax, he's the kind of guy, he's good outside, as you'll see here. He'll take it out to the sidelines and runs with it, and you see him fake it short yardage situation. Their outside people came in hard, and he took it around.
Hey, don't forget now, they've had 16 turnovers in 3 games, 6 in that game, so you are due to run into a team that won't make any mistakes.
Well, I tell you, we're going to have to force them to win. We're going to have some, and I think one thing, too, they run into a rash of them, and it's cost them.
Well, here's one here. This is the intercept.
Well, I tell you, the thing here, I looked at film on this today. He's out, he scrambles. The guy is going to throw to really got pushed and banged around a little bit, and defensive back stepped in and got it.
No, here you see 1 for 3, and then he made a couple.
Well, I think he made a couple that he had to have, and I tell you, he's still a fine kicker, and you have to respect his, at least his distance, to his ability to kick it long.
Watch this one. Sometimes you need a little help, too.
Yeah, that...
Lomax doesn't throw into coverage much, but Lionel was just standing right out there looking for this.
Well,
one,
I tell you, again, you'll see the offensive receivers on the ground here, and see him there, he slipped and fell, and that's the kind of things that start happening to you when you turn the ball over.
Now, you can score on them. I think the fact that you got 14 in game 1, I don't know, but other teams have been able to score. That's been their problem, is defense.
Well, we got some points on them. We got some early. We had a chance to get more. Didn't get them, but we're going to have to really make it count when we get into position now.
Well, I got a lot of things to ask you about. Kenny Jackson has been reactivated. Now, is it just to put him in uni, or is he going to play?
He may come in with a nickel offense. Not sure about that yet, but that may be where he plays.
Now, Jerry Robinson.
Jerry Robinson will play. Jerry's back. He really hasn't worked much in the last 2 or 3 weeks, but he's ready now. And it'll only be whether or not he can take the shot on the shoulder.
Mike Quick?
Mike Quick, I think, will be fine. Mike's still having problems. We'll have for the rest of the year, probably.
And we talked about Roy Null already. He's definitely going to be.
Roy Null will play. He's getting better each week.
So you're kind of about as healthy as you've been. Wait a minute. A little wood around here somewhere, knock on wood for you.
Well,
but you are.
Well, we are, and it's getting better if we can just keep it there, you know, and not have any further damage to our people. The problem you have now when you are nicked a little bit is if you can last, and that's the key. Like Mike didn't last last week. We've got to have, you know, if you can stay in for the whole ball game, that will be the story.
But Lomax's comments about having all kinds of time and he could have sold beer and hot dogs?
Well, I tell you, our guys, I've reminded our people about that. They've heard it enough, and they'll either have to do something about it or hear it again.
Does that work with pro players?
Well, I tell you, they've got and we have rushed better. That was our low point, and it has to be better, and it's a great football team, and to win, we got to have it. And,
this week St. Louis, next week Dallas.
Right.
It doesn't stop.
They get bigger.
They get bigger. That's it for the Marion Campbell Show. For Marion, this is Al Meltzer, and again, thank you for watching.
The Marion Campbell Show with Al Meltzer. Marion Campbell's wardrobe provided by Kent Mill Clothing, Clifton Heights, PA. Guests of the Marion Campbell Show receive from Best Products the Hellrose Quartz Watch. Water resistant to 330 feet, the new tradition in time.
Service
Francisco 49ers.
Put a good team together. They play out every play. I tell you, for a few drop passes against Miami, they could have been in first place themselves. Quick is hurt, Montgomery is hurt, Jackson is hurt, but they're all definitely going to play today for I don't know how long. But you know what? I can't understand the coaching staff of St. Louis. Only 2 passes to Green last week. Lomax didn't throw a long ball. You know, I don't know if he's going to throw long or not, but he should throw medium or short against the left side. St. Louis has got a little bit more speed, 24-20 Cardinals.
They were afraid to throw the ball to Green for fear one of the officials would intercept it after that previous week. How about the Rams at Tampa Bay, Jimmy?
Wilder against Dickerson, is it?
Hope to keep the heat on with their burner, Mike Quick. The Cardinals will fly with their big play combo, Lomax to Roy Green. It's that time of the year again. St. Louis coach Jim Hannaford knows the schedule grows short. And Marion Campbell still believes in miracles as the NFC East race enters the home stretch. Busch Stadium, St. Louis, Missouri, right under the arch, the gateway to the west they call St. Louis as a city. It might be the gateway to the playoffs in the NFC East because both of these teams still think that they've got a legitimate shot at it. Look at this, Dallas at 8-5 with their Thanksgiving game gone, but the Giants, Washington 7-5, St. Louis now even at 6-6, Philadelphia 5-6-1, and still very much in their own hands, they say, their destiny is. I'm Tom Brookshier along with Wayne Walker. Let's talk about the Cardinals. They were the TV darlings of the early season, 6-3. They'd run off 4 in a row and all this, and all of a sudden they come a cropping. They have 16 turnovers in 3 games. They lose all 3. Can Hannaford turn them around quickly like this?
Well, that's the key thing right there. You mentioned it is the turnovers, and there hasn't been anything that Jim Hannaford can put his finger on. It's kind of been passed around. They were a +8 3 weeks ago in giveaways and takeaways, and right now they're a -3, so that's been their big problem.
Lomax's arm's a little bit tender. He's got to be careful with it, isn't he?
He thinks so.
All right, the Eagles, meanwhile, we saw them tie Detroit in overtime. They lose to perhaps the best team in football by a point on a blocked extra point in Miami, and then they really shut down that offense for the Redskins. Their defense is enough to carry them through this game. What do you think?
Well, I think it is. The entire Eagles team is really excited. After a 1-4 start, here they are now. They've been playing extremely well the past few weeks, and here they are, 13th week of the season in a game that means something to them, and it means something to both teams. It's a must-win situation. This one is like a playoff game.
The weather is one of those unusual days for this late November here on the river. It's 58 degrees, a 10 to 20 mile-an-hour breeze that shouldn't bother the kickers, and the Cardinals have lost the toss. O'Donohue is going to kick, and of course back to get it, Ellis, Cooper, and a young man named Waters, who went 89 against Washington a week ago. That's Ellis with the ball. Ellis out over the 21. Good coverage by the Cardinals. This is not a sellout crowd, but they had 4 in a row before today. Here's the offensive lineup. Jaworski starting his 116th consecutive game at quarterback. That's tops in the NFL. Montgomery healthy for the first time maybe all year. Oliver at fullback, Mike Quick, Tony Woodruff, but look for Kenny Jackson, the #1 draft, to come in very early, and he looks like he's recovered from a shoulder separation. Moraldi, Kenny, Dennard, Baker, Mitchell, a very improving offensive line, and Spagnola, the big tight end, having one of his best offensive years, number 88. 1st and 10 from the 22. Straight handoff to Hubie Oliver. Rockman gets out to the 27-yard line. Curtis Greer making the tackle. Here is the defense. Al Bubba Baker is starting at left end, though he is injured. He's had sprained ankles on both feet. Ramsey Dardar is inside. Grooms is out. Galloway, one of the premier rushers right now, is in there. And Curtis Greer, always a good defensive end. Howard, E.J. Jr. in the middle, Charlie Baker. And these cornerbacks play awfully close to the line of scrimmage. Washington and Wayne Smith, Leonard Smith, and Benny Perrin are 2 pretty good safety men in there. 2nd down and 5. Again, Oliver off the left side. Hit at the line of scrimmage by Thomas Howard, the young linebacker obtained from Kansas City.
Cardinals really jumping around a lot on defense out there before the snap of the ball because they feel that Ron Jaworski is one of the best in the league at reading the defenses, and they want to confuse his mind a little bit before the ball is snapped and not give him a pre-snap read. E.J. Jr. has been in and out at middle linebacker on the outside a couple times when he's lined up, but he will be in the middle, number 54.
You're looking at Jaworski as he faces that 4-man front that Floyd Peters, the assistant head coach here in St. Louis, loves to employ. Former Eagle. 3rd down and 3, call it. Shotgun time for Jaworski. They have not been a good team on 3rd down all year. Jaworski sacked back at the 24-yard line. A big rush by Curtis Greer, number 75.
Well, it's very difficult. And look at, we got Jaws down. Jaworski is down after the sack. As I was going to say, it's very difficult to pin the blame of a sack on anyone in particular when you're playing against the St. Louis Cardinals, because they stunt so much up front. A defensive end sometimes on the right side will end up coming around and doing a stunt and coming over the middle. Let's take a peek at it right here. Now, Greer is left side of your screen, not in view yet. A good push, but it's just a job downfield by the secondary that prevents Jaworski from throwing, and then Greer comes in late.
Good point. Moraldi had a pretty good position and block on Greer. Ron Jaworski is hurt. He never stays down there if he is not really having to get a little time.
No, that's for sure. He is one of the tough ones. Ron Jaworski in the league, 116 consecutive starts. That's the longest string for a quarterback ongoing in the National Football League.
Otho Davis on the right, the head trainer, looking at number 7. It's early and it's always tough. St. Louis and Philadelphia. Get the infirmary ready. This looks like another one of those. No score in the first.
Pontiac. The editors of Road and Track call the Pontiac 6000 STE one of the world's 12 best enthusiast cars. Car and Driver called the Pontiac 6000 STE one of the 10 best cars of 1984. So why did we make it even better for 1985? Just because. The sensational 6000. Only from Pontiac. We build excitement. Pontiac.
If you want to do work like an expert, it helps to have the mind of a craftsman. Sears Craftsman electronic power tools are so advanced, they practically think for themselves. Their microprocessor memories and electronic sensors give you more precision, more control. And right now, these 3 are on sale for just $69.99 each. Only at Sears.
There's more for your life at Sears.
You're looking at the quarterback for the Eagles. Former Maxwell Award winner, the Burt Bell Award, being carried off by Otho Davis and company, and Joe Pisarcik, the veteran backup quarterback that used to be at the Giants, is in. He did come in a little bit against Indianapolis for one pass attempt and some against St. Louis in the first game. Pisarcik will be the quarterback for the Eagles when they get the ball back. Right now, Horan, the young left-footed punter, will be kicking for Stump Mitchell. And it's lookout time. Number 30 is Dynamite. He has fumbled a couple of punts this season, which is unlike this young man from the Citadel. Horan had a fair kicking day against Miami. Mitchell at the 32. Mitchell now hemmed in and drilled at the 37.5-yard line. 12:57 left in the first quarter, and the Cardinals have the ball.
And they have it in excellent field position. Jim Hanifin said, you know, you can't worry about the turnover situation too much. He said, I want my guys to play loose. He said, so if I get good field position right off the start in this game, I might go for 6 points right off the bat. So kind of keep your eye out for that. They may want to throw long right away on this very first play. If it's not there, then they'll dump it off underneath. But I think they will try to go for the 6 right here off the bat with this kind of field position.
And the Eagles do a deep zone drop. It's very hard to get somebody behind them. They don't gamble a lot. They play steady and try not to lose it. Here's Lomax looking for his read. He's reading deep now. He dumps it off, just like we said. Good move on the outside. Farrell, number 31, hit by Jerry Robinson. We'll set those lineups now. Here's the offensive team for St. Louis, and believe me, even though they lost 3 games in a row, they still piled up a lot of yardage between the 10-yard lines. Lomax, Earl Farrell, a good blocker. Otis Anderson had over 200 yards total offense, and they lost to the Giants. He's a great pass receiver, too. Roy Green and Pat Tilley, as good a 2 in a combination situation as maybe alive. Louis Sharp, Steve Clark, Bostic, Tootie Robbins, big, massive, strong, and they can muscle you. Doug Marsh, a very offensive tight end this season. It's second down, 7 to 42. Lomax tosses back to Anderson, his first carry. Anderson bucks to the 45. Jerry Robinson making his second tackle. We are told that this is a bad left ankle. Now, what bad left ankle means, we're not going to try to be orthopedic surgeons upstairs. It's a left ankle. It's being treated by the very best.
And if there's any way, he'll be back. He busted up some ribs earlier in the season, had an extremely severe groin injury, and always shows up and plays. Well, if there's any way for him, he'll be there.
We got a third down situation facing the St. Louis Cardinals. The Eagles have been fairly decent on third down defense. This is Anderson, the inside run into Eagle territory. Anderson to the 30-yard line, dragging people with him, including fouls.
Well, this is a play and a situation that the Eagles feared with Otis Anderson is picking a hole off the pull. Greg Brown, 98, the defensive end, comes across. It's a trap. And number 68 is Terry Steve making the kick out right there. Anderson up inside of that block and big yardage.
24-yard run on third down and 3, and that's the longest rush for Anderson this year. He has 831 yards rushing, but his prior longest was 19 yards. Boy, they come right out. Inside move, Anderson gets a good block. Inside the Eagle 25 to the 23-yard line. Number 58, Greg's making the stop.
Well, that time Randy Clark, the center, did a good job of handling Ken Clark, the nose guard, and then Steve again pulled and helped double team Dennis Harrison on the right side.
Here's that Eagle defense. Bigfoot Harrison, he's had a sack a game now for the last 8 games since he got his knees healthy. Kenny Clark is playing superb at nose tackle. Greg Brown getting a lot of respect around the league. Wilkes, Jerry Robinson back in there. Griggs playing solid at the right side. Fowles, Edwards, Ellis, and Hopkins. And Wes Hopkins, one of the big hitters in all of football at safety. Second down and 3. Lomax now dumps it out of bounds as he got a big rush from number 51. It's Wilkes that came very quickly on the blitz from the outside.
Ron Jaworski going off the field there. Brookie, and I would imagine if they have x-ray facilities here in the stadium, that's where they're taking him to get a picture of that ankle.
Got some ice on it, I can see that. And they do have complete medical facilities in the NFL stadiums now. A lot different than years gone by. This is a tough series. These two teams are flat physical with one another. Third down and 3 on the 24. Lomax in the St. Louis shotgun. His arm has been bothering him, a pinched nerve somewhat. He dumps it to Stump Mitchell. Mitchell's going to score a touchdown. That's Stump Mitchell's first touchdown reception of the year, but he can do it all. Good pass by Lomax. Coming out of the backfield was number 30.
Easiest pass for a quarterback to throw to. The short pass over the middle. If their vision is clear, it's the easiest one they have.
Safety man looked like they were caught. It looked like Ellis and Hopkins both trailed number 30 in there. O'Donoghue now trying for the extra point. Benny Perrin is the holder, the safety man. It's down. It's good. The crowd, while not a sellout, enthusiastic. Pat Haggerty makes the call for the extra point.
Out of the shotgun, Stump Mitchell will be the slot back over here on the right-hand side. He'll get inside on Wes Hopkins, number 48. Lomax watching him all the way, and as I said, his vision was not impaired. No hands in front of his face. He had no arms to throw through. Consequently, it turns into 6 points right here. The easiest throw a quarterback can make is over the middle short.
And the way you measure a guy like Stump Mitchell is he's strong on the left side. He's got heart. He's been banged up with ankle injuries and all. Looks like he's healthy today. O'Donoghue will kick off again. We got Ellis, Cooper, and Waters back to receive. This is Cooper. Evan Cooper at the 5. Cooper puts his head down and gets to the 21. A very disturbing factor if you're an Eagle fan might be the fact that the Cardinals' lowest scoring quarter is the first quarter, and the Eagles' best defensive quarter is the first quarter, and yet the first time the Cardinals touch the ball, they go down and get 6. You can see the offense for the Eagles. Some of these stats you can go back to the first of the year and throw them out, but 14th, 7th, 13th, yet they're still in the drive for the title, right?
Good defense on the Cardinals side. In fact, in the last 3 games, although they've lost them, they've only allowed a 37% completion average against them.
Pisarcik is in there. He's thrown the ball 18 times and completed 9 so far this season. Hand off to Wilbert Montgomery, struggling to the 24. E.J. Jr., the middle linebacker, making a tackle there.
E.J. Jr., of course, was an outside linebacker here for several years for the Cardinals, but they wanted to move him in the middle to take use of his range and great ability, and weren't able to do it earlier because of injuries. He had to move back outside, but he's in there now full-time, they hope, in the middle.
Joe Pisarcik. Used to be with the Giants. Played in Canada. A very good backup, a tremendous team player, but he's under a lot of pressure here. 2nd down and 6. Outside goes Haddix. Maybe a half yard out over the 25.
We talked about the range of number 54, E.J. Jr., and why they want him from sideline to sideline in the middle. You'll see it right here. Watch him make the read and then fly to the outside here. A good job by Al Baker, his defensive end, closing down, bounced it out, and Jr. was there.
Pisarcik has no interceptions, no touchdowns, and he's going to get a lot of playing time today because Jaworski is in the dressing room. Number 7 is with a badly sprained or injured left ankle. 3rd down and 5, call it. Pisarcik going across the middle. Number 85 has it. There's a flag thrown late. Mel Hoover protested, got a call, and Wayne Smith was detected for hanging over the shoulder. Pretty good throw by Pisarcik.
Was a good throw.
Defensive pass interference, number 44, 1st down. As we said, the quarterbacks for Hannafin's Cardinal team play at about 6 yards, which really has them in trouble up there, doesn't it?
Take a peek at the end of it here now. Just a post pattern here by Hoover, and there's the contact before the ball gets there by number 44, the cornerback Wayne Smith. And yes, the St. Louis cornerbacks play about 6-7 yards, and that's pretty shallow in this league nowadays. Most people back there 9 and 10.
Inside trap play to the 50-yard line goes Wilbert Montgomery. Oliver came back from motion. Cardinals said they play Hubie Oliver as just a guard. They play him as a very good blocker. He's short, and you can't see him coming back inside for those traps. Marion Campbell, better known as the Swamp Fox. He thought he really needed the win up in Detroit. They end up with an overtime tie, but they went down and really played Miami. Pillar to post, losing by a blocked extra point. We're having a tie there. And then last week, they really beat on the Washington Redskins and won it with defense. 2nd down and 6. Montgomery slashing. Looks like he has a 1st down to the 44-yard line of St. Louis. That's the cutback runner that we've grown to see in Philadelphia, number 31.
Exactly right. The play was designed to go outside the tackle, right over the tight end, and he cut it back, and they need that. He had a big running day against Miami, the best of the year for him, and they have to get that going, especially against this pass rush of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Last in rushing in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles. And Jaworski is in the training room already. It's just short of that first, it looks like, by a half a ball. It's time to go for it as Pisarcik comes back from the bench. Ted Marshall-Broda, the offensive coordinator, rather basic. He doesn't like to lose games with bad offense.
You see Pisarcik there in the huddle. The last time that he was in a ball game this early, I think, for Jaworski was the opening game of the season last year in San Francisco. He came in as the relief pitcher earlier in that one, and they beat the 49ers. So this team has confidence in him.
3rd down and just a little bit, so those numbers on 34% 3rd down conversion should change. Here's the 3 tight end formation. Inside handoff up over the top goes Haddix. Tremendous pile of players there, but it looked like a 1st down. Haddix, the number 1 draft from a year ago, has been moved into the fullback position where Marion Campbell thinks he's going to be truly a blue chipper. First down. Remember, Kenny Jackson, the #1 draft out of Penn State, says that his shoulder separation is okay, and he should see a lot of action. And he was catching balls down at Eagles practice vigorously, and he really gives Mike Quick some room. First down and 10 now. The Eagles with a legitimate drive, 6:30 on the clock in the first quarter. Pisarcik. The blitz is on. Pisarcik hit as he unloads, as number 45 came from the secondary, Leonard Smith, on a safety blitz.
Pisarcik saw it and read it extremely well, but the receiver was a little late making his cut for him, and he had to hold on to it a little bit longer than he had to. I think he's ready to get rid of it right now. He sees the blitz coming right here, and he's ready to go, but the receiver hadn't made his cut yet. And that's what a blitz will do.
Boy, Haddock's made a bad block, too. He's got to get the inside and pick up those safety men, or he's going to get the backup quarterback hurt. Second down and 10. Good defense by St. Louis. They think they've got a defense now that can play with anybody. They got a down 4. It's an over defense, as we used to call it, out of the 4. Second down and 10. Quick throw on the outside. Montgomery hit hard at the 43. Good tackle by E.J. Jr.
So we said sideline to sideline by number 54. That time, the St. Louis line stunted up in front. They did their twists and rolls, and watch him. He's got one back responsibility. And he's right out there with him.
Out of Alabama.
I guarantee you pay some extra attention to number 31, Wilbert Montgomery. You don't want him getting the ball out in the flat when he's got 4 or 5 yards of space out there. You better be keying him and reading him and sitting on him when he is out there, or he's going to be gone.
Now you've got a tough third down situation. Third and call it 9 on the 42. Shotgun for Pisarcik. Joe Pisarcik going to get a lot of duty this afternoon. The rush is on. He steps up. Pisarcik going deep. Going to overthrow everybody out of bounds. As 2 Cardinals were covering Haddocks. Leonard Smith and Wayne Smith. The crowd telling the Raiders from St. Louis here, huh? Came down from Chicago in 1960. And under Coryell had some pretty good years through the mid-70s. And under Hannafin, they're on their way back. This is Horan's punt, his second of the day. The left footer gets it up. Stump Mitchell's waiting. He's not going to be able to handle this one. They're walking it off. St. Louis will have the ball on their own 11-yard line. A good punt by Horan. The aeronautical engineer does it again. St. Louis 7, Philadelphia nothing. 6:13 left in the first.
I don't compete anymore, but I still pump iron. So after lifting a few hundred pounds, it's nice to lift one of these. Light beer from Miller. Light taste.
Dallas, Chicago, Washington, and Philadelphia in a row. It beat some good teams there, and all of a sudden they lose to the Rams in a game which they could have won. Of course, they feel they lose to Dallas. That game with the Roy Green callback of a touchdown pass still sticky in their craw. And last week, the Giants just sort of sat on them in the second half and stole a game from them. That's what they think. First and 10 now, facing Neil Lomax and a very, very good offensive ball club on the 12-yard line. Here's the draw play. Anderson coming up to the 14.5-yard line. Jerry Robinson nailing the great running back out of Florida right there. Tampa Bay leading the Rams 3-0 on that field goal in the first quarter. We saw the Tampa Bay team a week ago against San Francisco, and they're playing pretty good football. Washington taking it out on the Buffalo Bills. Cincinnati 7-0 over Atlanta. Where have the Falcons gone? Second down and 7 on the 15, call it. Marsh is the motion man. The rush is on. Lomax dumps it in the flat. Anderson has it. Puts his shoulder down and gets to the 18-yard line. Joel Williams getting the big guy out of bounds there.
That's one of the things that Lomax said that he has to get better at, being a little bit more patient. If I can't get the ball downfield, then I've got to be more patient and take the 3- and 4-yard gain. He was extremely hard on himself after the loss to the Giants last week. He flat stayed indicated to the reporters here and to the team that it was his fault that they lost because, as he said, I played a ridiculous game. And Hannafin said that he was a heck of a guy for saying that, but it wasn't justifiable, that everybody was responsible. And he wanted him to be loose today, and I think he probably is now after throwing that first touchdown pass.
And he's had bruised ribs and a bad nerve. Here's the shotgun throw by Lomax. Dancing happy feet. Oh, good throw, and dropped by Roy Green at the 33-yard line. The Zephyr just didn't catch the football. Good pass by Lomax. Roy knows it.
Yes, it was. Roy Green right here. 57 catches, tops for this team, and you know what he's done all season long. He's made the big play. He said he's never really had a big first half, though. All his yardage, most of his catches have come in the second half. But that was a catchable one right there for him.
And it's a nice day. It's not cold here. It's about 58 degrees and not enough breeze to get you worried about the weather. Birdsong's first punt. Cooper is waiting. Birdsong was very nervous in his pregame warm-ups. I thought he shanked about 10 or 12 punts. Never know. Ooh, this is a great kick. This is a great kick. Cooper, fair catching. And the Eagles will have the football, call it the 33. Kicking game is important. Boy, when it goes bad, it takes you right down the tubes. It's 7-0 St. Louis. Stump Mitchell, Woodruff, and Mike Quick to the bottom of the screen. Mike Quick has a bad left knee. He says after halftime he doesn't know if he can even run much on it. This is Montgomery. Wilbert sheds some tacklers and gets out over the 40 to the 41. Wilbert Montgomery coming in with 547 yards, far off the pace of a few years ago when he used to crank out 1,200-yard seasons.
Yeah, he said that he understands that, though, that the offense is spread out a little bit more than it used to be. And he says he needs the feel of the game. He'd like to carry 25, 30 times, but kind of knows that that's not the way it's going to be any longer.
It's total yardage now, whether it's Anderson or whether it's Wilbert Montgomery. If you catch it, you get it. Inside move by Haddock trying to pick up the first down on 2nd down and 3. The offensive line has been together now 5 straight games for the Eagles, and Marion Campbell was so happy with morality working against Dexter Manley in Washington that the young man got the game ball for the offense a week ago. Marion Campbell will not be pleased to hear that a fractured fibula of the left ankle or the left lower leg for Ron Jaworski is what the early diagnosis has been. That is not the big bone, the tibia. I'm very familiar with that area. This is the small bone that doesn't support much weight, but it is a fracture for Jaworski. 3rd down and inches. I don't know. Haddock's put his head down and is thrown back now to the 42. Boy, that defense really bucked up and played some line of scrimmage.
A good surge that time by the defense. Galloway and Greer over on the right side.
1st down anyway, just the forward motion. Floyd Peters, the former Pro Bowler that played so well for the Eagles, one of the fine assistant head coaches that is probably going to be a head coach in this league.
He calls the defensive signals. He sends them into the safety, Benny Perrin, a youngster who's called defensive signals out on the field since he's a rookie. You don't hear much of that. Perrin, number 23, relays them on and has the option to change out there if he doesn't like things.
Montgomery and Oliver now in the eye on 1st down. The blitz is being faked. It's on. The blitz, safety blitz comes from the side, and Montgomery runs away from it and gets to the 47-yard line.
Okay, Wilbert said that even though he doesn't break things at the start of a game or in the first half, that he uses every carry to find out how the defense reacts and how they're reading and to wear down the defense and get a feel of the game. And much like we talked about Roy Green, Wilbert said that he feels that he can come up with his best efforts in the second half after learning experience that he goes through the first few times carrying the ball.
2nd down and 8 from the 47. 2 tight ends in now. Montgomery with 22 yards on 5 carries. Cab is in there and Spagnola. 2nd down, 8 on the 47. Straight drop back. Good blocking up front. Spagnola has it to the 43-yard line. I might as well say that I got a letter from people in South Philadelphia, and they said, Tom, will you please straighten out the pronunciation of Spagnola's name? That the Italianos, the real Italian people, say it's Spagnola. So I said to Spag, what do you want me to call you? He says, whatever those people want is okay with me. So Spagnola it will be today. Having a great year, the Yale graduate, who is going to be in the stock and bonds business one of these days, and in a big way, just like he plays football. 1st and 10 now. 2:02 left in the first quarter. The toss back to Montgomery running left. Montgomery cuts back. Gets to the 31-yard line. Wayne Smith putting both feet together. Wilbert Montgomery is a great cutback runner.
Yes, he is. He got a great lead block that time from Hubie Oliver, number 34. Watch Oliver, number 34. He's down at a 3-point. Counter step by Montgomery. Oliver, 34, on the outside linebacker, and he'll put him on the ground. There's Perrin, number 23, the safety we told you about. And Wilbert runs right through him. And the corner man, Wayne Smith, has to come over and make the stop.
Keep in mind that this Eagle team loaded it up against the Miami Dolphins and just ran them almost out of the Orange Bowl. They can do it on occasion. Today may be one of them. 1st and 10 on the 32. Wilbert ducking outside, now cutting back. Runs into trouble at the 30. Junior was first.
Michael Haddix did a pretty good job there on the lead block that time. The Cardinals blitzed their linebacker, and he was astute enough to read it and make the hit.
Don't forget, coming up next, most of you will see what we consider the class of the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. They could clinch the NFC Western Division title against the New Orleans Saints. While those of you in the Midwest and Tampa will see the Chicago Bears try to clinch their first title of some sort since 1963. They go against the Vikings. More and great NFL action coming up here on CBS. It's our doubleheader day. 2nd down and 8. Pisarcik, quick drop. Finds an open man. That's Mike Quick at the 20.5-yard line. He is so dangerous, you're willing to let him have a 7 or 8 yarder for a first down just so he doesn't break for a touch.
Now watch him here now. He could write a book probably already called Double Coverage as I've known, but right here he was single coverage, and he's going to love that. And he thinks that he'll probably get it a lot today from the Cardinals, because he said that they put a little bit more pressure on their cornerbacks than most teams that they play, and they do play a little bit more man-and-man than most teams. He had a 90-yarder against them in the last game.
And the last game, even though it turned out to be a debacle, the Eagles only trailed 17-14 at half. Right now, after one quarter, it's St. Louis 7, Philadelphia nothing, but Quick has the Eagles flying. Quarter action begins. As Hannafin said yesterday, he wanted to get on top early, and they have scored first. It's 7-0 St. Louis. Pisarcik, the quarterback. Jaworski has a fractured fibula from the first series. The toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. Montgomery to the 16-yard line, dragged down there by E.J. Jr. Let's go to the NFL today now and get an update from Brent Musburger.
Brookie, the Los Angeles Rams need this win, but the Buccaneers and James Wilder are sticking it to him right now. There's his 9th touchdown of the year. They missed the extra point, so it's only 9-0. Let's go back to Brookie.
You can't figure anything out, you know it. Jimmy maybe can, but I tell you I can't. Everybody just battles back and forth, and on a given Sunday, you can really get ripped.
And I'll tell you, place kickers are going to drive John McCain up until the day he does retire, which will be the last game this season. Another missed extra point.
That's a different world, they say. 2nd down and 6 from the 16. The Eagles driving now. Inside, a quick move by Hubie Oliver. He doesn't get much. It's going to bring up that touchy 3rd down and call it 3.
Oliver, the ball carrier. I think we've seen a little change in the Philadelphia offensive theory since Jaworski has gone out, Tom. They haven't tried to open it up much. They're counting now on the running game and some short, precise passes by Pisarcik. So they're going to let him get settled in the ball game before he starts winging it some.
The great thing about Joe is that he's so involved, and he and Ron are so close just as teammates, that he works out almost as much with that unit as probably Ron does. 3rd down and 3 from the 13. Quick is to the bottom of your screen. Going right outside and throwing behind Wilbert Montgomery is Joe Pisarcik. Wilbert never even looked around.
Well, that's, once again, that's a timing thing and working with a guy. He had Wilbur out in the flat, and at one time he was open, but he threw it over his right shoulder, and it ended up being low, but he threw it to the right side, and Wilbur turned around and looked left, so it was never there.
The young kicker is coming in, McFadden now, who has hit 16 of his last 18. And keep in mind, this St. Louis bunch have blocked 5 field goals this season. They get up big on that other side over there. And that Plunkett jumps behind the line, and they've blocked 6 field goals. Pisarcik's holding. It'll be a 31-yard attempt. Snap's good. The hole looks good. kick looks good.
And McFadden will like that because now he was in there without his regular holder, Jaworski.
From Youngstown State, a 12th round draft choice. Money in the bank. It's 7-3 St. Louis.
Can you help me?
With the Eagles club record that Tom Dempsey, one of our favorite people of all time in an Eagle uniform, accomplished that in 1973. McFadden kicking to stump Mitchell. Harrell's back there too, but look out for the stumper man. That's Harrell. Harrell at the 14. Hard running gets Harrell to the 30-yard line, and Lomax will bring out that St. Louis offense. Don't forget, next Saturday, CBS Sports will present the 85th Army-Navy Classic from Philadelphia. Navy leads that series 40-37-7 in one of college football's strongest and greatest rivalries. Army-Navy next Saturday at noon Eastern time on CBS. Boy, Lindsey Nelson and company have got to be involved in that. Lindsey's been with so many big college games over the years that it just wouldn't seem right to have JFK Stadium not having Lindsey there for the Army-Navy. 1st and 10. The drop by Lomax. He's screening, and the screen man falls down. They're going to call him for intentional grounding of the ball. It'll be a loss of down. The screen man came out, stumbled, and fell down, and Lomax was left with the load.
It's a good call. It wasn't going to be your regular screen, Brooke. It was going to be a tight end screen, and it was number 80, Doug Marsh, who went down.
A tight end screen. Haggerty was right there.
Intentional grounding. Offense.
Now watch here, the right-hand side of your screen. The tight end will block a couple counts. Number 80, see there? Now Lomax is going to look for him, but as he drifted out in the flat, he tripped and fell. There he is down.
Boy, nobody to give that ball to. No. It does draw a crowd. 2nd down and 24 from the 16. Back to basics. Anderson running left. Being bounced outside. Still gets to the 20-yard line. Let's go to New York right now to the NFL Today and Brent Musburger. Brent?
Brookie, Steve Bartkowski is out for the Falcons because of that injury. Mike Morosky is in there, and he's having a tough afternoon. Watch Robert Jackson of Cincinnati pick it off. 28 yards for the touchdown. The Bengals now lead the Falcons 21-0, and the Falcons have lost 6 in a row. Back to Brookie.
And Cincinnati, Brent, is probably playing like we expected them to after preseason. I thought they had one of the best-looking squads in the league. Of course, what you look like in training camp and what you look like in November are two different things. The shotgun for Lomax on 3rd down and 20. He's got to be careful. He's going to air it out. Underthrowing number 82 at the Eagle 40-yard line. That's Cedric Mack, the converted defensive back who's supposed to have 4.3 speed to 40.
That's right. Mack was a number 2 draft choice as a cornerback, and they wanted to do the same thing with him as they did with Roy Green. Convert him.
Roynell Young's in there for some action.
And in pretty good shape now. Lomax got some good pressure in there by Harvey Armstrong that time from the outside and had to hurry his throw some.
Good point. Birdsong back to punt. Cooper to accept the ball at about the Eagle 40. Good defensive series for the Eagles. It's a good punt. A little bit low, though. Going to get a run back on this one. That's Cooper at the 30. Cooper doesn't get much. Good coverage by the Cardinals. Cooper gets to about the 37. And so with a 7-3 ball game in the 2nd period, a 50-yard punt, a 7-yard return. Jack Buck, one of our favorite people around CBS for years, and Dan Deerdorf, who tormented defensive linemen for a dozen years or so here in St. Louis. Sort of fun to see some of the guys back in this business and having some fun doing broadcasts. 12:18 left before halftime. Pisarcik out to Wilbert Montgomery, has some blockers in front. Wilbert into Cardinal territory, sliding to the 45. Benny Perrin barely got number 31 off his feet.
Good timing on that screen that time. Both Ron Baker and Leonard Mitchell out in front of it, and Mitchell at 6'7", 270 pounds was blocking on Lionel Washington at 6 foot, 180. Washington was looking for daylight.
Montgomery, a very fine pass receiver. Scores from other games quickly. Tampa Bay 9-7 over Los Angeles. As we said, a missed extra point. Cincinnati blanking Atlanta Not at halftime there yet. 1st and 10 on the St. Louis 46. Wilbert Montgomery running left. Powering ahead to the 42-yard line. Keep in mind that these cornerbacks for St. Louis only play about 6 yards deep. And if you play 6 yards deep against Mike Quick, you've got to make a quick reaction. Washington shutting out Buffalo. They're still in the first. Cleveland, Houston, 7-7. Well, those Oilers are a good-looking young team. Pittsburgh, 17-0 over San Diego. Not even at half yet. Chuck Noll has gotten mad. He must have thrown the shoes in the locker room. 2nd down and 7 on the 43. Pisarcik, the quarterback, getting it to Oliver in the flat at the 47. Oliver inside the St. Louis 40 to the 39. Let's go to New York City for an NFL update with Brett Musburger. Brett?
Rookie, here's the update on that score you gave. Eric Dickerson getting the touchdown for the Rams. Now, they kicked the extra point, so they're right back in it against Tampa Bay. It is 9-7 Bucks. Back to Brookie.
Nobody's dying easy this year, Brett. Everybody's going to battle to the last day. Jaworski said he was so happy to be going into his 13th game that meant something. Right now, he's in the dressing room with a fractured fibula. You're looking at Joe Pisarcik. He's in shotgun on 3rd down and 4. Pisarcik. He's got a receiver. Wilbert Montgomery has the 1st down, tumbling inside the 35. Lee Nelson grabbed him by the shoulders. Against Philadelphia, the flag is down. Pisarcik was drilled and knocked down, but Haggerty will give us the information.
Holding, number 74, offense, still 3rd down.
Leonard Mitchell, holding. When the Eagles drafted Leonard, they drafted him as a defensive end #1 a couple of years ago, and he's converting. Look at that. 63 times for $4.99. Pretty frugal team that way.
I think they call that discipline.
But that's a big one when they've got a 1st down made deep and they're driving for a touchdown. 10:03 left before half. 7-3 St. Louis lead at 3rd down and 14 from midfield. Shotgun. Pisarcik, they're handling the block, and he's got a lot of time. Going deep for number 85. He's open. It's going to be dropped in the end zone. Mel Hoover played with the ball and simply missed it. A perfect throw by Pisarcik.
Everything was perfect on that. St. Louis looped and stunted their defensive line up front. It was just an excellent job by the Eagles' offensive line to pick it up. And check this. 85 Hoover. There's a little fake move. Quick's going deep. Hoover's deeper by 4 yards and was right on the money from Pisarcik.
Pisarcik cleaned it off and aired it out and doesn't get it. Horan's punt. Trying to get it away from Stump Mitchell. Stump takes it anyway at the 3. Mitchell's going to run it back. Hit hard. Good coverage by the Eagles at the 13-yard line. What a throw by Pisarcik and a miss by Hoover. It's 7-3 St. Louis.
When it comes to getting to the high ground, there's nothing like having a faithful companion. The new Toyota 4x4 SR5 Extra Cab, powering you to the top with a new electronically fuel-injected engine that supplies this truck with more horsepower than any other in its class. The new Toyota 4x4.
Now this is a friend forever.
Selling today, it's tough. Just one sales call can cost $200. So before your people go out, make sure it's a hot lead. AT&T can help. Our people can show your people how to use AT&T Watts and AT&T 800 service. So chances are, when they make a call, they'll make a sale.
Been expecting it.
The people of AT&T Communications. We're thinking about your business in ways you never thought of.
Turn to the voice of experience. Turn to the news you can trust. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. When it's important, America turns to CBS News.
looking at Jim Hannafin. Took over in 1980. He's got a team that has no turnovers and has scored a touchdown in the first quarter. He's got to be happy. And look at these stats. The offense for St. Louis, 7th, 1st in passing, 1st in total offense. They've lost 3 in a row. On defense, 9th for Philadelphia, 8th against the pass. But they're better than that when they get into that nickel defense. 9:45 left before halftime. 1st and 10 for St. Louis on the 14. Lomax, misdirection to Anderson. Anderson spilled at the 17-yard line by Jerry Robinson.
Al Baker right there with a pinched nerve around the neck and shoulder area, but should be back in this one.
He's had 2 sprained ankles. He had 1 sprained ankle. He played with it sprained and sprained the other one. I guess you do favor the injured area. He is a giant at 6'6", 275. Right now he's on the sidelines.
He had 23 sacks when he was a rookie in Detroit. Unheard of.
That was with Floyd Peters, who's now his head coach here too. 2nd down and 6 at the 18. Looked like somebody was moving, but no yellow flags. Marsh has it at the 12. Run out of bounds, short of the 20-yard line. Ray Ellis making a tackle. Ellis had 10 tackles against Washington a week ago. Combined total yards, a new club record, 9,041. And some people don't give this fella credit, but all I've ever seen him do is average 4.7 yards a carry.
Well, he's gained 1,000 yards every year he's been in the league, except 1 year, and that was when the season was shortened by strike.
The only person ever to have 100-yard days back-to-back against the Dallas Cowboys in the same season, that rookie year of '79. Stump Mitchell is in there in the shotgun. Lomax dancing. Now he's going to run with it. Lomax running, sliding for a 1st down at the 25-yard line. Herm Edwards putting the tag on him.
Early in Lomax's career, he was more liable to do what you just saw than he is now. He used to look downfield, and if the first guy wasn't there, he'd take off with it. He ran what they called the run and shoot at Portland State, where he played, a high-scoring type of offense. And he had what Hannafin used to call happy feet back in the pocket. But he's got an anchor on him now.
Didn't he have 7 touchdowns in one game against Delaware State or somebody?
I think try 1/4 or something like that.
Even worse.
Yeah.
1st and 10, a good move by the Cardinal quarterback. The ball's on the 25 now of St. Louis. That's Marsh in motion. Lomax looking left. Now he's throwing back to the right side. Anderson has it. Eagles were right there. Good defensive play at the 27-yard line by Robinson and Griggs. Anthony Griggs is an interesting study, isn't he? Perhaps the nouveau linebacker of the 80s.
Well, he sure is. We talked to him yesterday. And good personality on him. He collects piranha fish. He's got 7 of them in a tank at home. Anthony Griggs does. He says he wants 4 more, and he'll have an entire defensive unit.
How about when we said, what do you feed them? He said, well, you feed them goldfish. What else do piranha want, right?
He said they only eat when they're hungry.
And don't go in his apartment and put your hand in anything. 2nd down and 7. The ball's on the 28. Roy Green has stayed in the slot to the left side. Lomax going for Green, who can't quite handle it at the 45. A tough catch that time as Lomax threw it behind the receiver. And Wes Hopkins was right there. I wonder if Roy could hear number 48.
Well, Marion Campbell said that Green can not only hurt you going deep down the sideline, but he can hurt you down the middle too. He said, we'll always have a free safety. We'll always be playing zone against these guys with somebody free in the middle, because we don't want Green to break it loose on us down the middle. And number 48, Wes Hopkins, who almost every pass receiver in the league now is beginning to fear, was back there. And that's kind of safety valve on defense that Marion Campbell was talking about.
3rd down and 7. Lomax back in the shotgun. He's a little deeper in his than the Eagles shotgun. Quick drop. He's being rushed. Good rush, and he's sacked back at the 20-yard line. Let's see who came under the swirling pile. Greg Brown, fast becoming one of the best pass rushers in the league. Ostrich boots and all.
Yeah, he was number 2 in sacks on the team with 8.5 coming into this one. They had a stun on, and he'll come. He lined up at right defensive end, and he'll come in here basically from the left side. One more sack for him.
And that's a very outstanding unit blocking for Lomax. Here's Birdsong back to kick. He's standing on his own 7-yard line. Eagles now getting some momentum, but no points. Hoover simply dropped a touchdown pass. Good hang time on this. That's Cooper. Cooper fair catching at the 34-yard line. Eagles with good field position, but only a field goal to show. We're sitting on a powder keg. 6:11 before half. It's 7-3.
You know, a diesel mechanic doesn't cut his teeth on rigs like that. I started out on pickups, then graduated to these babies. Now we got this place with 18-wheelers stopping in on the way to both coasts, because a trucker appreciates a quality job at a fair price. And so do I. That's why I like Meisterbrau. Oh, I could pay more for beer now, but this has full-bodied taste at a nice, easy price. Hey, fellas, let's lock them up for the night.
Meisterbrau, big taste, without the big price.
Every once in a while, something unexpected shows up.
Hey, what's that, a Toyota?
The 1985 Toyota Corolla GTS. A Toyota, dependable. A Corolla, affordable. A different kind of Corolla. A sleeper. A car for the street powered by a new twin-cam, electronically fuel-injected.
What's he got in there?
16-valve engine.
What's he got in there?
Known as the TC16.
Yeah, what's he got in there?
Anderson on the sideline. St. Louis with that 7-3 lead, and they are a Jekyll and Hyde ball club. They run off 4 in a row, beat some of the best teams in football, and they dropped 3 in a row, but they were good teams too. They did everything but win. That's important. 1st and 10 on the 34. Pisarcik very much in control. Out to Hubie Oliver. Mayer with the 35. Good tackle by Junior. And now for an NFL Today report. Let's go to Brent Musburger in New York. Brent?
Brookie, I'll tell you, John McKay and the Bucks are coming right back against John Robinson and the Rams. Here's Steve DeBerg, and he's got the ball to Jerry Bell, and the Bucks go back in, and now they lead at 16-7. Back to Brookie.
DeBerg is a good-looking quarterback, Brent. I saw him with Denver a year ago, and he won like 6 games for the Broncos. Now he's down at Tampa Bay trying to pull them together. Here's Junior making that stop.
Sideline to sideline coverage, as we mentioned.
Holding to a 2-yard gain. 2nd down and 8 on the 36. Pisarcik being rushed. Now he finds the receiver. Oh, Vito Cab is separated from the ball at the 38. They're going to call it incomplete. Leonard Smith hit the big Penn Stater right in the rib cage, and the ball came out.
Well, Leonard Smith did a great job of closing while the ball's in the air here. This is a good throw, and Vito Cab in pretty good shape to make the reception here, but watch the move by Leonard Smith, number 45, while the ball's in the air, and the ball was a little bit high, and that rib cage was exposed, and Smith took advantage of it.
It's about the only bonus you get as a defensive back is one of these again, you know it? The guy has to keep his hands up, and you can get even with somebody that weighs 230, which Vito Cab does. It's 3rd down and 8. 5:21 left before halftime. Crowd's calling for defense. Pisarcik, the time, receivers open, quick has it, short of the 1st down at the 42. Benny Perrin dug number 82 just as he made the catch.
Crowd's booing on the spot, but it still appears to be a little bit short of a 1st down. They may have to measure it. That's a great catch, though, over the middle. Mike Quick. He's
like the rubber man, too. You know, he just seems to be so limber. When they hit him, he bends right around it.
We talked to him yesterday, and I said, you know, the thing that's amazed me about you and in the games I've seen you play is your ability to leap without slowing down and gathering yourself. You're running full speed, and all of a sudden you're about 6 feet in the air. He said, well, I was a high jumper.
One of the best. Horan punting now, not taking a chance on 4th down a lot. Horan really rides this one. Mitchell driven all the way back to the 4-yard line. Mitchell gets away. Now the flags are down. An illegal block by the St. Louis punt coverage group, and they're going to move that one deep inside the 5-yard line. Looked like we're a little blocking somebody in the back there as Mitchell tried to return that 53-yard punt.
I think it'll be a blocking from behind. It's on Lionel Washington on Sampleton, who was down there originally.
Pushing it back on the return, number 48.
The punting game takes about 10 minutes out of each game just to explain what didn't happen on the thing, you know.
Watch it right here. 48 blocking from behind on Big Lawrence Sampleton, the tight end who was on the coverage team.
Lionel Washington says, I never touched the big fella. It's 7-3, St. Louis, 4:27 left before half.
Morning, Miss Stevens.
Good morning.
Mr. Lewis.
After you buy IBM equipment for your business, we don't stop trying to make it even better. And if we make an engineering change, as part of our maintenance agreement, an IBM service representative will stop by and make the change.
You ask it. Good as new? Better than new.
Our service representatives don't just keep your machines running.
Take care.
They make your machines run better.
He said it was better than you.
Think he can fix a 53 Studebaker?
IBM.
Every handicapped child has a right to the special education he needs. Not just big city kids from New York or Los Angeles, but every kid. No handicapped child gives up his right to education because of where he lives. Big city or countryside or farm, if your child needs special education, that's his right. So write Special Education Programs, Box 1492, Washington, D.C. 20013.
Tuesday.
They shook hands before the game down on the field. It was really funny. It looked like two pickpockets that were trying to look out the window while they were working on one another, wishing each other good luck, have a lot of admiration for one another, and they have been in this league a long time, each of them. In the end zone, Lomax back to throw. A lot of time. Roy Green has the ball go by him at the 23-yard line. Ray Ellis almost had the interception.
Ray Ellis made a great move for the ball that time, and I think for a minute that he thought he may have been interfered with by Roy Green. Watch the coverage here. It's long and short right there. There's the cut. Now watch Ellis with his cushion and then move on the ball. That was just incidental bumping, so no flag for that one. But that was a great move by Ray Ellis, number 24.
He's just flat worked his way into the starting lineup. When Randy Logan hung it up after a great career, Ellis out of Ohio State was ready. He likes to hit people. He and Wes Hopkins. Here's the handoff to Anderson running out of his end zone. Gets a little room. Falls to the 7-yard line. Wayne, we were talking about this when I used to come up on defense and have somebody inside their own 5-yard line. You've got to be a little careful, though.
Well, I think so. You know, play action pass on a first down in that situation. There's a lot of green behind you when you turn around and look. But it's a different situation right now. It's third down.
You want to jump in and hit some of these scores here?
We said that Tampa Bay, as Brent showed, is 16-7 now over the Rams. That game's in the second quarter. Kansas City leads the Giants 7-0 in the second. Washington on a roll now against Buffalo.
Third down and 5 on the 8-yard line. 3:30 on the clock. Lomax going across the middle for Green, who makes a diving catch. Enough for the first down, obviously out to the 28-yard line. Fowles and Bree Wilson both there. Green just went up over him.
I think it's a perfect example, of the Philadelphia defensive strategy that we talked about, having somebody in the middle and playing the zone a little loose, a little soft. They don't want to give up that big, long strike. Now, look at that back there. They had, I think, Bree Wilson, number 22. That's who it was, playing the free safety back in the middle to keep Green from breaking it long.
The officials are counseling themselves now. How about when I asked Haggerty about an unpalatable play? He said, what is that? I said, well, that's like a guy coming off the bench and tackling somebody that was coming down the field, an unpalatable play. And you said, what if a fan comes out and tackles somebody running for a touchdown? I thought the official was going to go into shock. An unpalatable play. It's hard to even say.
The pass was ruled as incomplete.
Well, he can't figure it out.
Well, if Hannafin finds out, I hope he tells us. That's Jim Poole trying to explain it to the Cardinal coach.
Who doesn't agree. There it is again. Roy Green, 81. Anything out of there yet.
If that's not a reception, I've never seen one. Birdsong punting from the end zone. Cooper is standing right at midfield. Big break for Philadelphia. You take them as they come. It's a tremendous kick by Birdsong. Cooper back to the 42-yard line. Cooper running laterally, hemmed in and stopped at the 47, and gang tackle there. And so it heats up. Was it a catch or wasn't it? A 51-yard punt, no return.
You've put in a long, hard, tough day. So you deserve to end the day in style. The 1985 Toyota SR5 Sport Truck, sporting a new electronically fuel-injected engine that makes it the most powerful truck in its class, without sacrificing an ounce of style or comfort. The Toyota Sport Truck.
Isn't it a good-looking brute?
Shows and cheering the Big Red. There's Roy Green. The last possessions, the 4, started the 3, the 14, the 30, the 11. Punt, 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 punt.
Yeah, and 3 times it was 3 plays and out for the Philadelphia defense, so they're getting after it pretty good.
3:02 left. Pisarcik looks like he has a game plan and is following the same one that Jaworski started with. From the 47, out in the flat. Wilbert Montgomery with blockers. Chased by Bubba Baker. Vaults into about the 40-yard line. Stopping the clock with 2:56 left. That catch or lack of catch could be a large factor in the first half. Crowd anticipating, a little bit cloudy now and beginning to cool off. The big chill, as they call it. 2nd down and inches. Maddox is in. Down 4 for St. Louis, and they'll be coming. Maddox inside the 40. Don't forget, coming up next, most of you will see the San Francisco 49ers, who have to be one of the best teams we've seen in a while. They could clinch that Western Division title against the Saints. While those of you in the Midwest and Tampa will see the Chicago Bears try to clinch their first title since 1963 against the Vikings. NFL action coming up next on CBS. 1st and 10. 2:20 on the clock. The toss back to Montgomery. Hit hard by Junior. Manages to get to the 41-yard line. Junior measured the halfback and won the duel.
No secret now why, as we mentioned, they wanted him in the middle. He said his problem with the middle, his vision has to be wider than it was at outside, but looks like he's learned. He played the entire preseason at middle, and then because of injuries had to go to the outside once the regular season started.
The 2-minute warning, a 7-3 ball game, and the Eagles got that pot brewing.
When you've got a long way to go.
He received a fractured fibula, the small bone in the lower part of the leg. He is out. They fake the safety blitz. Pisarcik reads it, gets it across. Did he catch it? Spagnola has it. The crowd is saying he didn't catch it.
Spagnola off the line, getting the chuck there from Thomas Howard. They could peek at it, he juggled it, had control there, and had it between his legs. Had it clamped with his knees, he did not drop it. It was an Easter egg.
Big catch. More and more, they say he's like a basketball center. He gets good position and protects the ball very well.
Think he had any stick him down there on his knee pads?
3rd down and 2 on the 32. 1:16 on the clock and running. Trying to stop the clock. Montgomery does at the 27.5-yard line. Be careful with Wilbert. He looks like he's going to go out of bounds sometimes, and he'll put it right down the sideline.
They're moving him around some, too. To play before that, he lined up at wide receiver, and he's a good one out there.
Abilene Christian. The Eagles had 2 6th-round draft choices back in '77. And this was one of them, 6B.
Well, again, you know, 6 running, scored 76 touchdowns in college. It just seemed just with that stat that he had to take him higher than the 6th round somebody.
He's only scored 1 touchdown this year, highly unusual. Back to throw, out in the flat. Montgomery makes Bubba Baker. Oh, Baker makes a good tackle. Number 60 came out from defensive end and really made a sensational play.
Well, he was actually in the coverage because they blitzed the linebacker on that side, number 52, Charlie Baker, and that meant that Bubba Baker had to cover the first back out.
Here are the standings, and you can see that on the 13th week, we still are in a jump ball situation. The Dallas team with that Thanksgiving Turkey Day behind them are 8-5. Giants and Washington 7-5. And here you can see Dallas at New England. The Eagles have Dallas at home, New England at home, and then go to Atlanta. And of course, obviously, the Eagles have to win all of their games and hope for a 9-6-1 is good enough. The Cardinals at New England. Then they face the Giants here. Then they go to Washington. Interesting, huh?
Giants and Kansas City now 7-7 in the second quarter. The Giants remaining on their schedule. They're at Jets, at St. Louis here, and then against New Orleans.
Washington, meanwhile, is burying Buffalo. They're not at halftime yet, and Gibbs' team is probably getting even with the Bills because the Eagles came down and played so well. At Minnesota, Washington, at Dallas, of course, and then they have St. Louis at home. That might be a very important game.
Dallas, of course, they played on Thursday. They got the Eagles left, Washington and Miami.
It's almost check your local listings type thing because there are a lot of ramifications. But as Marion Campbell said, hey, we've got a game that means something.
I think, you know, most people looking at the schedule from all those teams in the East would probably agree that the Giants perhaps have the easiest way, but none of them are this time of year.
Well, the hardest schedule in the league was the Eagles. If you finish 4th place in the 5-team division, you get a pretty rough deal. Second down and 11 from the 28. Shotgun. Pisarcik is the quarterback. Rolling to his right. Off Wilbert Montgomery's shoulder pad at the 22.
Pisarcik gunned it in there a little bit harder than he had to. Wilbert was wide open all the way across the middle that time. And that was just about too hot to handle.
Earlier, Pisarcik threw on 60-some-odd yards and hit Hoover on the hands in the end zone, and the young receiver just couldn't handle it. Eagles hanging tough. Cardinals trying to get their offense started, and except for the first drive, have found the Bird defense pretty stingy. Third down and 11 from the 28, 55 seconds on the clock. Eagles shotgun. Quick, Hoover and Woodruff, 3 outside receivers. Taken down at the 30. Good defensive play. Secondary came up quickly. Leonard Smith making the tackle. McFadden will come on now and try for his second field goal. Paul McFadden. He made me feel so old the other day at Eagles practice. He said, "How are you doing, Mr. Brookshire?" And somehow he aids me even beyond.
The Eagles can take their time now and let this clock run down. Call a timeout and then make sure that Philadelphia, or rather St. Louis, doesn't have enough time left to do anything with it.
Remember, St. Louis has blocked 5 field goals this year. Plunkett has blocked 3. So there'll be some planning going here.
St. Louis that took the time because they looked up and said, hey, let's save a few seconds if we can. But it's down to 11.
The field goal certainly more important in the game since they moved the hash marks into the middle of the field. The young man's by himself. You're looking at Pisarcik and Marion Campbell. Don't forget at halftime, scores and highlights with Britt and Irv. And Irv's legends of the game, Jim Marshall, wrong way Marshall, but a great defensive end and quite a personality for the Vikings.
Boy, he was like a cat with 9 lives, that guy.
Played defensive end at about 230 pounds. You got to be pretty good.
Skydive, marooned once in the snowmobile up in the Rockies.
McFadden, by the way, the kicker, is standing back on the 40 all by himself. Now he goes up and gets closer to the group. The ball will be put down at the 34-yard line, 33.5, so it's a 43.5 field goal attempt. Pisarcik is holding. Got enough on it? Oh. It's through. We're within a point. And number 8 does a couple of high fives. I hope he doesn't celebrate too much and get a penalty. It's St. Louis 7, Philadelphia 6.
This is a United Way Hearing and Speech Center in the Philadelphia area. It's just one of 177 centers like it that are supported by the United Way across the country. I'm John Spagnuolo of the Philadelphia Eagles. My love affair with these children started when I visited this agency as a United Way volunteer. I want to tell you about just one child. Her name is Julie. In 1971, she heard sound for the first time in an agency just like this. But that wasn't the end of her story. Today, she's a track star winning medals, and she has a dream to someday be running for the gold as an Olympic hopeful.
Julie Barty!
And now I'd like you to meet Julie. Here she communicates as a United Way volunteer, helping children who face the same challenges she faced. With your help, I know they're going to make it. So thanks, because thanks to you, it works for all of us. The United Way. I love you.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Coach Gans is the special teams coach for the Eagles, is the one that tried out McFadden before the Eagles drafted him in the 12th round. The only thing is that his kickoffs are a little bit short, but he's working on leg power and drive and hang time. Let's see how well he does. He squibs this one to keep it away from Mitchell. Taken at the 27 by Harrell. And at the 35 runs into a pile of green and white. 3 seconds. Coach Bruni, the right side of Marion Campbell. They've been together for 18 years of their pro coaching careers. Those two are like joined at the hip when it comes to defense.
Got a kick out of Fred Bruni when Andre Waters ran that kickback against the Redskins last week. Bruni ran the entire length of field with him on the sideline, and it was the first one in the end zone to congratulate him. And he said, I hadn't been able to walk all week because of a bad knee. Forgot all about it, and the knee hasn't bothered me since then.
The crowd doesn't like it, but the Cardinals will go in and try to get the offense started, except for the first drive. They just didn't get much done. St. Louis 7, Philadelphia 6 at half. That's the end of the first half.
The college basketball season has begun, and in the month of December, CBS Sports will present the nation's top teams head-to-head as they pursue their dreams of winning it all. You can follow the action every week as we take you down the road to Lexington, through the regular season, into the NCAA tournament, the Final Four, and the National Championship. These are the games you'll be seeing in December on the home of the NCAA Championship, CBS Sports.
Reminder that coming up later this afternoon on CBS, we could decide 2 divisional races. The San Francisco 49ers, with a win over New Orleans, would wrap up the NFC West. And, of course, the Chicago Bears could win their first title since 1963 if they beat the Minnesota Vikings. And speaking of the Vikings, during the 70s, they went to the Super Bowl 4 times in 8 years. Now, the heart of their team was a strong defensive line known as the Purple People Eaters. And one member of that quartet was Iron Man Jim Marshall, who played 20 seasons in the NFL. But as Irv Cross now tells us in this Legends of the Game profile, all that hard-hitting trench warfare on Sunday afternoons was a day at the beach compared to the hair-raising experiences Marshall has had off the field.
Every NFL player understands the art of survival, but former Viking great Jim Marshall could write a book on the subject. His has been a life of daring deeds and narrow escapes, as free of constraints as a philosophy he lives by.
Far better it is to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered with failure, than to be ranked with those poor souls who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, for they live in that gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. Teddy Roosevelt.
A veteran of more than 500 skydives, he's also survived a private plane crash, an accidental shooting, and an operating room hemorrhage that stopped his heart twice. In the winter of 1971, his snowmobile expedition ran into a blizzard in the Grand Teton Mountains. 17 persons went out, and the 16 who survived actually burned money to keep from freezing.
That fire saved our lives, and we built it with money, everyone's money. Everyone who has some money or any type of combustible material around. We made up a joke. The guys were saying, well, let's not take any checkbooks because we might have some rubber checks in there that might not like it. so I mean, we had a little humor. We had a little humor with it too.
Myra straight back to pass.
After several close calls with death, it's no wonder that Jim didn't lose any sleep over a mental mistake on a football field.
30-yard line, Kilmer driving for the first down, loses the football. It's picked up by Jim Marshall, who's running the wrong way. Marshall is running the wrong way, and he's running it into the end zone the wrong way, thinks he scored a touchdown. He has scored a safety.
I got a lot of good-natured teasing from the guys. I know when we got on the airplane, they sat me up in the cockpit with the pilot. So that they said we didn't want to go back to Minnesota. You know, they didn't want to go back to Minnesota. They figured with me up there, we'd end up in Hawaii.
Jim Marshall survived life's little pitfalls to become pro football's all-time Iron Man. In 20 seasons, Marshall appeared in 282 consecutive games, an NFL record that will be awfully hard to break.
We have asked that one man to delay his entrance for a moment so that all of us will have an opportunity to express something special for a very special man. He is playing his final game at Metropolitan Stadium today. Number 7, the captain of 10 divisional champions, Jim Marshall.
Jim Marshall, a man of substance and a master of survival.
That's when men were men and the Vikings played outdoors like they should have.
Out in the snow and not over that, under that dome.
Let's take everybody to the scoreboard now and get them up to date. Here are the developments around the league. Many of you are watching this game. You know the Buccaneers are upsetting the Rams 16-10. It is a gorgeous afternoon down in Tampa. Steve DeBerg here throwing the ball into the end zone to Gerald Carter, but it is ruled no touchdown by the official. He said that Carter juggled the ball before he was inbounds. Now John McKay says, I got to get a decent break against these guys. And James Wilder, he took care of it himself, diving into the end zone, and it was 9-0. The Buccaneers had missed an extra point. John Robinson and the Rams got a touchdown, and then DeBerg came right back, hit Jerry Bell at the 10, Bell down the sidelines, diving in, 16-yard touchdown, 16-10 at the half. The Buccaneers with the lead there. Pittsburgh all over San Diego. It is 24-3. Malone has thrown a pair of touchdown passes, 15 yards to Lips and 3 yards to John Stallworth. Cleveland beating Houston 20-7, and McDonald has thrown 2 touchdown passes for the Browns, one to his tight end Ozzie Newsome, and that was from 12 yards out. Cincinnati all over Atlanta. Turk Schonert completed his first 10 passes in that game, 10 of 11 for 157 yards and a touchdown. Washington beating Buffalo 24-7. Joe Theismann 13 of 17, 148 yards and a pair of touchdowns in that game. At the half now, Kansas City kicked a field goal with time running out in the first half. That made it 10-7. Then they intercepted a Phil Simms pass, ran it in. It is now 17-7. The Chiefs with the upset at the half. Philadelphia and St. Louis, of course. Many of you are watching this game. Cardinals lead at 7-6. And how about that kicking game, Irv, that the Eagles have suddenly found?
Boy, of course, McFadden's a great kicker, but here's a real blow to the Eagles, Brent. Early in the game, the Cardinals with a tremendous pass rush here from Greer and Galloway, sacked Jaworski, and he wound up with a fractured fibula.
And he will be out for the remainder of the season. Neil Lomax from the shotgun here for the Cardinals going to stump Mitchell at the 15. Mitchell in for the touchdown, and that put the Cardinals up. Joe Pisarcik had a touchdown right here, Irv, and I guess it hit Mel Hoover in the wrong spot, huh?
You couldn't draw it up any better. Perfectly executed play except for the catch. Bounced off the shoulder pad.
All right, and the NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
Stenerud booms it there, and it's good.
All those years of kicking under pressure has not made the challenge any easier for Stenerud.
It's hard to explain really how you feel. The key is to feel very low.
I've attempted 500-some field goals, and I guess before every field goal, you're kind of hoping they're going to make a first down or a touchdown.
A native of Norway who attended Montana State, Jan turns 42 tomorrow, and that amuses his younger teammates.
He's so senile, you know, everything has to be right for him, and sometimes he forgets my name. He calls me Darren, Steve, or whoever.
During training camp, everyone would be drinking iced tea, juice, milk, and he was always drinking Geritol.
Being part of pro football for so long, met all the great people that I've met, some of the disappointments, some of the exciting and great moments. It's been tremendous.
So, happy birthday, Jan, from all of us here at the NFL Today. And also, greetings from the International Brotherhood of Kickers around the NFL.
Jan, Cade Miller Folger, Huis Canary and Boderlath.
Så lykke med fødselsdagen I dag.
Happy birthday.
Forrest Gregg wishes he was the person cutting that birthday cake.
Boy, I tell you, Green Bay really missed him this year.
They sure did. Let's send you back now to the stadium and the game you're enjoying on CBS.
Okay, Brent, thank you very much. St. Louis 7, Philadelphia 6 at halftime. And for a team that's been averaging 27 points on offense, I thought the Cardinal offense was flat except for the first little touchdown pass to Stump Mitchell. They didn't do much. They didn't try much.
Well, flat or tentative. I think I'd call both offenses kind of tentative, and I think there's a reason for that. Number one, St. Louis had miserable field position, especially in the second quarter, so they had to be careful with it. Philadelphia, on the other hand, I think they were a bit tentative after they lost Ron Jaworski with what is a broken leg, and Pisarcik came in, and I think they wanted to get him settled, and I think we'll see a different game scheme from both teams in the second half. You got to get the ball to the two outside receivers, and they haven't done it either.
Quick's only caught a couple of balls, and so far the fast one, the splendid one on the other side, hasn't caught a pass, right?
Roy Green had one taken away from him.
You can see the stats. The big one, I guess, you go to the bottom of the line. It's 1940 in time of possession, but the Eagles have a big advantage over the St. Louis Cardinals. And as we said, except for that first drive, the Cardinals really didn't come out and air it out. The 2 field goals, by the way, that gives the young kicker now 20 out of his last 22, and the only ones that he's missed were a 52-yarder and a 44-yarder. So the field goals that have the Eagles on the scoreboard, important indeed. Okay, I think we're sitting on a game that may come out. Let's see. We'll come back for the second half. Pisarcik's the Eagle quarterback. Well, somebody has to fire and fall back. St. Louis 7-6. And McFadden's kickoff. He said he didn't kick it deep. This one is to the 3-yard line. Stump Mitchell has it. Stump Mitchell, a very direct runner, comes up and it's a flag throw at the 23-yard line right into the pile of players. Lomax was 5 of 12 for 35 yards and 1 touchdown. The short pass of 24 yards to Stump Mitchell. I don't know if he's ever had halftime stats like that.
I don't think so. And you think that he had 35 yards total and 24 did come on the touchdown pass.
Keep in mind that back in 80 and 81, when Marion Campbell coached the defense, they allowed people only 15 points a game. They play defense. The Eagles
We have
do.
holding. 46 on the return.
So right away, St. Louis starts out in very difficult field position. After getting a decent run back by Stump Mitchell, the penalty puts him back in bad shape.
You can see the penalty list. We've already told you that one of the least penalized teams, the Eagles, St. Louis with 4. Hannafin had one taken away, and we thank you very much. It's nice to be in St. Louis, and this is the nicest football day that I've ever encountered here in this beautiful city. Opening play of the second half. Lomax, handoff on misdirection to Anderson. Anderson, gang tackle, finally finished off by Hopkins at the 13.5-yard line. The Eagles are swarming.
Yes, it's just good team defense. Again, Jerry Robinson was out there. They strung it out, and then Hopkins came up and made the hit.
Early, the first series of plays for the offensive Eagles, Ron Jaworski, in his 116th consecutive start, a record, had his fibula cracked. He is through for the season, we understand. He is under doctor's care, and Joe Pisarcik has been the Eagle quarterback. For those of you that may have just tuned us back in here, second down and 8. Lomax on a straight drop. He's being blitzed, but he still has time. Now he throws on the run, hits Marsh. The tight end has it at the 28-yard line. Tackled there by Fowles.
98 right here, down in the three-point stance, middle of your screen. Greg Brown working against Luis Sharp, one of the good tackles in the National Football League. Lomax with plenty of time, but it's going to break down on him right here. And just as it does, he releases and finds Marsh, who was floating around in between linebackers, down about 12 yards deep.
Tootie Robbins and Louis Sharp, the big tackles, were obtained in '81, and they are a pair of bookends. Some people think the most physical young tackles in football. 1st and 10 on the 29. Cardinals now trying to breathe a little fire into the offense. 3-step drop, reloads, good throw to Tilley. Number 83 makes his first reception to the 34, and the crowd buzzes.
Pat Tilley, we were talking to some of the Eagles defensive backs yesterday, said that Green has the great speed on this team, but Pat Tilley may come out of his breaks, out of the moves he makes, out of his cuts faster than Green does. He's so quick.
And Herm Edwards was telling us that you can't trust him. You see him on the films doing that out one way, and you come into the game and he does it on you differently.
Yeah, never runs the same pattern the same way.
12:39, a handoff, toss actually to Anderson, who fumbles, but that was after he'd hit the ground. Stacked up there by Joel Williams, just over the 35, make it the 37-yard line. The quarterback, number 9, will go the rest of the way as the Eagle quarterback for the season of '84. Jaworski has a fractured fibula. That's the smaller bone in the lower leg behind the tibia, the big shin bone. But Pisarcik has come in and, as you see, done a nice job. 12 of 18 for 71 yards. He's a veteran.
And had a sure touchdown pass dropped on him.
3rd down and call it 2. Did he? Did Anderson get it?
Doesn't look like it to me, Brookie. Looks like he's short.
Dennis Harrison stacking things up. That Eagle short yardage defense. It's going to be pretty close. They're going to call it no. 4th down. May have lost a yard or foot. It's now 2 full yards to go, according to the marker on the sideline. And Birdsong comes on.
For the Eagles, number 21, Evan Cooper.
Cooper down at the other end at the Eagle 15 will give Pisarcik and company the possession for the first time in the second half. They trail by a point. It's 7-6 St. Louis. Oh, a little high, but he handles it. It's a nice kick. That's Cooper fair catching at the 24.5. Eagles have come out of the dressing room like they think they've got momentum going for them. It's 7-6, 11:31 left in the 3rd.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Meet Nissan's hottest truck, the best-selling King Cab, re-engineered for '85 to hitch a tough, smooth-side, strong box to 9 cubic feet of lockable storage and jump seats behind the buckets. Nissan, first and still, king of the compacts. Yahoo! Right now, special incentives from Nissan can help save you big money at your Datsun dealer, but hurry, offer limit.
A new idea, like a pebble in a pond, can change the world around it. Technology from a company called TRW puts ideas to work. And when an idea gets going, there's no end to where it can lead. Tomorrow is taking shape at a company called TRW.
Next Sunday, see the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants against the New York Jets, or other regional games next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Tom Brookshier and Wayne Walker in St. Louis. Montgomery has 43 yards on 10 carries, and the Eagles haven't had a 100-yard rusher this year. He had 90-some odd against Minnesota early. This might be the half for him to ignite the legs. 1st and 10. From the 25. Scrambling to the 31-yard line. E.J. Jr., what he had, 12 solo hits in the first half?
He had 12 solo tackles in that first half and 1 assist. And when we talked to him on Saturday, he said, you know, I think I'm really ready to take my place up there with Hugh Green and Lawrence Taylor. He said when those guys came in the league, they had ready-made defenses for him. He said that didn't happen to me. He said it's time that I got my notice now because I think I'm that same caliber.
Boy, he's sure showing it today. And a couple of his tackles were a touchdown saving tackle. 2nd down and 5 on the 30. Pisarcik, the quarterback. Since the very first Eagle series, Haddix comes back from the trap, and Wilbert this time runs into trouble at the 30.5. Dardar, the young lineman in there, making a good defensive play. Don't forget, coming up next, the 49ers, who could clinch that NFC Western Division title against the Saints, or those of you in the Midwest and Tampa will see the Chicago Bears try to clinch their first big title since '63. They play the Minnesota Vikings. NFL action here on CBS. And if there's a smarter, more complete team than the San Francisco 49ers, I don't think I've seen one for a while. They're a good football team. 3rd down and 4 on the 31. Pisarcik with a lot of time. Quick tries to catch it at the 39, but knocked away. Leonard Smith climbing the ladder.
Good play by Smith. The pass was just a touch high from Pisarcik, but showed that jumping ability of Quick again. Now he's just up there in an instant.
Michael Horan will come in. It's funny how these kickers spend time with other teams. He was with 3 other teams before the Eagles got him, and he has been sensational at times. This is an average kick, too. All fumbled. It's a muff, and it goes out of bounds. Possession will go to St. Louis, but that was a muff, not a fumble. Danny Pittman mishandling that punt. That left footer, it looked like that ball slipped a little bit on him when it was coming down, huh?
Sure did. It started coming down and tailing away from him because it didn't turn over as a spiral. Knuckled down on him going away. Did not get possession. No one had possession, so it reverts to St. Louis.
The muff rule is a rather unusual rule. It means that you have never gotten possession of the ball, so you can't have fumbled it. And it goes OB. 9:59 left in the 3rd. It's still 7-6 St. Louis.
America's driving over. America's driving to Firestone.
Firestone's Drive Over Sale. Save up to 30% on tires, MasterCare service, batteries. Save on every size 721 steel belted radial from only $29.95. Plus, save on MasterCare awarded service, tune-ups, shocks, batteries, and more. Firestone's Drive Over Sale at Firestone now.
Firestone.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
What are the children playing with, dear?
Electronic games from Radio Shack. There's Trackstar with races just like the arcade game. And 3D Sky Duel with 3-dimensional graphics and sound effects. And Supercopter with a joystick and 4 levels of play. Pretty neat, huh, Mom?
Quiet, dear. I'm shooting down my enemy planes.
Oh. Electronic games from $7.95 to $29.95. Only at Radio Shack.
Jim Hannafin watching as his great Cardinal offense has stalled out for the last 3.5 weeks. 1st and 10 for him. Lomax, the quarterback. Only back in there is Anderson, who takes the inside handoff. A little delay. Cuts through there, gets to the 36-yard line. Ray Ellis comes up under the big back at that point. Some other scores around. 17-16. That extra point for Tampa Bay is drive McKay right into that golf cart. 28-7 Cincinnati beating on Atlanta. 17-7 Kansas City over the Giants. I think that Kansas City is sort of an underrated team. 27-7 Washington, and you're looking at Neil Lomax, the gunner, tossing back there trying to get the running game going on 2nd and 6. Anderson's knocked out short of the 40-yard line. Now for an NFL update, let's go to New York City.
Brookie, you gave the score, but take a look at this touchdown run by Eric Dickerson of the Rams. He takes John Holt on and whips him to get into the end zone. 2 touchdowns now for Dickerson, 70 yards rushing on the day. Back to Brookie.
Well, Brent Dickerson took apart the St. Louis defense, but the Cardinals still thought that even though he had 150 some odd yards rushing, that St. Louis should have beaten Los Angeles. Boy, Dickerson, his son running back. You let him get in your secondary and better call for help. Call the emergency crew. 3rd down and 2 on the 40-yard line. Shotgun. Being chased. Well, good movement. Now he's going to run for it. No, he's going to throw on the run. And it's dropped at the 45-yard line by Cedric Mack. The conversion is not complete from defensive back to offensive receiver.
He's dropped a couple of them in games here at St. Louis, and the crowds reacted the same way. We talked to Jim Hannafin at practice, as you see Lomax by extra time here. Now, Cedric Mack, we mentioned earlier, the converted defensive back. They say he catches everything they throw at him in practice. But he just needs a couple notches on his belt in game conditions, and he's not going to get a much better chance than that right there because he was wide open and the ball was right on his numbers.
Sometimes the ball weighs 50 pounds. Birdsong to punt from his own 25, and Cooper back to receive. The Eagles have got to be getting bullish on themselves and their chances. It's a low kick. This one can be run back. Cooper at the 15. Gets the block. Now he's trapped. Good coverage by St. Louis. Maybe to the 16-yard line. 45-yard punt. A half a yard return. 8:58 left in the third. It's 7-6.
Welcome to Miller Time.
Practice, they like one another, and they like to come out and tee it up, and they're playing very well, particularly on the defense. Pisarcik is the quarterback. Ball's on the 16. The backs are out. Pisarcik goes for quick at the 27. He had the option of hitting the back out in the flat or taking the curl-in move by number 82.
Mike Quick, 82 now. He'll run a short post pattern right here. Take it down a few steps. Take it right in on the post. Reads the zone. Doesn't complete the pattern. Curls it up in there, and Pisarcik had it to him.
He's got a bad left knee that he says after halftime sometimes it sort of cools off on him, you know.
That's a good indication that he's going to stay in for the entire length of this one. It's tendonitis in that knee.
He's one of the great receivers around football. Set the Eagle record a year ago. Pisarcik, he's got a lot of time. Pisarcik finds Spagnola. Spagnola gets another first down at the 37-yard line. He took E.J. Jr. for a ride that time.
Spagnola right here says when Mike Quick is catching the ball and they're double covering him, that's when I'm going to catch the ball because it opens up things underneath for me. Now he's much like a basketball player here. Watch him use his body and shield E.J. Jr. away from the ball, and he does that as well as any tight end in the league.
You're using Spagnola too now.
Well,
huh?
you know, we got to call him the same thing.
Remember when I took you to South Philly that day?
South Philly too.
We went down and had those cheese steaks. There's nothing quite like that. The big fella from Yale came in with 45 receptions for the year. 1st and 10, the Eagles with 2 consecutive first downs. Pisarcik going for it all. Knocked away from number 83. Benny Perrin made the defensive move. And Woodruff tried to get it over the defensive back, and there's an injury on the field now.
I'll tell you, Woodruff really wanted a penalty called on this. Check it here now. Number 48, Lionel Washington. He's going to get some help from Benny Perrin coming from free safety. But watch what Woodruff was hollering about right here. Watch number 48. Watch the hand. Jostled him right there.
I think you can go for that ball underneath the throw, don't you?
You got to let that go. Woodruff didn't like it, but that was good defense.
Lionel is going to get up now. Lionel Washington. Good play on defense. 7-6.
We make computers that not only enhance individual performance, but work in harmony with one another and compatibly with our competitors to bring out the brilliance in all. Wang, we put people in front of computers.
Nissan 85, long beds, king cabs, 4x4s, sport trucks, all major values starting at a $59.99 sticker, same as last year. All re-engineered with a new smooth side strong box. Nissan 85, built tough enough to be major motion. Right now, special incentives from Nissan can help save you big money at your Datsun dealer, but hurry. Offer limited.
Washington just shaken up over by Floyd Peters, the defensive coordinator. Young Victor Heflin is in at right corner, and Wayne Smith has moved to the left corner. Inside handoff. Haddix stacked up at the 40 and taken back to the 36 rather rudely.
Ricky, I think the pass before that Pisarcik threw deep, even though it wasn't completed, I think it served notice to the St. Louis defensive backs that he's into the game now, Pisarcik is, and he's not going to throw the little dump-offs all the time. He's going to be willing to try it long. And even though it wasn't a completion, I think it sent a message out there.
Washington is back in as Pisarcik will go to the Eagles shotgun on 3rd down and 7 on his own 40. Flags are down. There's still time on the clock. Let's see. As Curtis Greer throws Pisarcik around at the 35. The flags were down early in that.
Ball start, number 64, offense.
Dean Miraldi getting ready for the attack by Curtis Greer. False start. Swamp Fox has gum for every day in the week. He keeps stacking it in there. By the end of the day, Marion Campbell has a whole package in his mouth. He's through Thursday already. This is going to be a close game. It's been close. It's 7-6. 2 field goals for Philadelphia, 1 touchdown pass for St. Louis. 3rd down and 12 on the 35. Joe Pisarcik in for Jaworski. Time. He's got Woodruff coming across the middle. Woodruff gets to the St. Louis 45. What a good catch that was, and that was a tough one.
Oh, what a great throw, though. He didn't have much room to get it in there either. Watch it here. Number 38 is Lee Nelson in there. He comes in and plays nickel defensive back. 48 is Washington. Watch the cut here by Woodruff. Here comes the ball. You'll see a linebacker come across E.J. Jr. in front there. He almost had a hand on it. There was about a 3-foot space to fit it in there, and Pisarcik put it in on a wire.
Woodruff came in with 3 touchdowns receiving the football. And, of course, we have not seen Kenny Jackson yet, the #1 draft out of Penn State, who had the shoulder separation against the Giants. 1st and 10 on the 46. The toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. Galloway makes a good hit. Montgomery gets inside the 45 to the 44. Next Sunday, the NFL Today will have a look at the New York Jets and why they moved out of New York to Giant Stadium in New Jersey, and how the Jets will find themselves the home team playing in their opponent's stadium. In the Stadium of the Giants, that's next Sunday on the NFL Today. 2nd down and 7. 5:33 left in this 3rd period. The sun's coming back out now. The numbers on Anderson, most of those from bad field position and in the 1st quarter. Very quiet since then. 2nd down 7. Pisarcik. Now he has the ball scraped away. And I believe number 74 has it. Holloway has recovered the fumble.
He was on it, and I think Elo Grooms, the veteran Grooms, was the one that stripped it away with an initial rush that had good penetration on Pisarcik.
And the Cardinals are the team that have lost 16 of their turnovers in 3 weeks.
Grooms, number 78, is a player that Floyd Peters spots in there. He's injured. And look at him, took an outside rush, got a hand in there, knocked the ball away. And then it's number 74, Randy Holloway, the ex-Minnesota Viking.
First mistake for Joe Pisarcik. He had it on his hip, and Grooms took it off. 2nd least in the NFC, but that's a large one. It's 7-6, and St. Louis has the football.
When an alkaline battery goes dead, you throw it away and buy a new one. This is a GE rechargeable. When it goes dead, you recharge it. It costs more than batteries you throw away, but lasts up to 4 years. Used 10 hours a week, this toy would use over 300 long-life batteries to just 2 GE rechargeables. So if you're still throwing away batteries, you're throwing away a lot of money.
Isotoner men's gloves present the great hands of the NFL. They're the hands that throw the ball, the hands that catch it, the hands that make the game. But not all the great hands are on the field. There are some terrific hands in the stands. These hands look great every time out. They wear Isotoner brand gloves from Eris with the custom finger-by-finger fit. Isotoners can handle anything. Eris Isotoner men's gloves. Get a pair for Christmas at any fine store.
The man they call Elo, Brooms, obtained for the Saints. He's been hurt, but that was some big scrape. Caused that turnover, the first one of the day. Lomax at the 48 of Philadelphia. Quick drop outside. Roy Green steps out at the 42-yard line. You got to let him have those all day.
I think it's going to be there all day for him, too, if they want to take it. He's a strider, and he's got as much speed as any wide receiver in the National Football League, and you do have to cushion him. And the best you can do in that situation is try to get there at the same time the ball does and perhaps strip his arms or give him a shot in the back.
A 4.340, so he can take one dip to the outside and go up that sideline so quickly. A pick up of 5, second down and 5. Anderson running left. Eagles, good defense. A line of scrimmage nail job by at least 3 Eagles. Joel Williams there first, he and Griggs. They strung him out that time and got him going parallel with the line of scrimmage.
Turned him right into number 58, Anthony Griggs, who says that was the thing that they feared the most about Anderson, is his ability to pick the hole off the sweep. So many times he'll cut it back inside.
Those other scores, Tampa Bay back on top, 19-17. That extra point still looms big, doesn't it? The Giants back in business, but trailing by 3 with Kansas City. Cleveland opening up on the Houston Oilers 20-7. Here we're third down and 3. It's Cardinals shotgun. Quickly for Tilley, who tried to fake it and overthrown at the 30-yard line, but covered by Herm Edwards very, very well. Little guy came down with his hands down like he wasn't going to get the catch.
When you're a defensive back, as you well know, Brookie, they'll do that sometimes, you know, pretend the ball's not coming their way. If you're concentrating on them, you can tell by their eyes, though. Their eyes start getting a little bigger when the ball's on the way.
Carl Birdsdog back to punt. The numbers on 6 kicks. He is really booting that thing today. Cooper's waiting. Cooper's back on the Eagle 10. Field position now sort of goes with the Cardinals. Ooh, this is a skyline. Into the end zone. No roughing the kicker called. So Philadelphia will take over the ball at their 20-yard line. Don't forget NFL football next week on CBS Sports. It all starts with the NFL Today, as it always does. Then as the NFC East scramble heats up even further, most of you will see Dallas take on Philadelphia. Those of you in the Northeast will see the Jets and the Giants. The Midwest will see St. Louis and New England, or Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Those of you in the Mountain Time Zone in Michigan will see Detroit and Seattle, or you'll see New Orleans and the LA Rams. NFL football next Sunday right here on CBS Sports. First and 10 facing Pasarchik, who just fumbled on the last series, but he's been good and he was ready to play today. Straight drop back, the backs are out. Michael Williams has it in the flat to the 22-yard line. Thomas Howard getting a call. He's the linebacker that the Cardinals picked up from the Kansas City Chiefs, and he only weighs about 210 or 12 pounds, but they say he's better jacking up tight ends than some larger fellows.
Yeah, he was a 6-year starter at Kansas City, and they thought they would get him so he would play the weak side linebacker. But when they put him over on the tight end side, he handled it better than the rest of their linebackers, so that's where he's been.
Kenny Jackson has not been in the game. Not yet. He is back. He is in uniform. He ran well, and he caught the ball well. But Marion Campbell wants to make sure the number 1 draft is ready to play. Second down and 8. Ooh, looked like there was a jump. Oliver has the ball running to the outside. The flags are not down, and Bubba Baker must have gotten back or not made contact.
Back out of bounds by Parrott.
The amazing thing is that Leonard Mitchell didn't jump when Bubba came at him.
Second man in from the left of your screen right there, number 60, Bubba Baker. Now he's going to do that once or twice a game. They said he got back but it kind of negated any kind of rush he had, as his momentum was going the opposite way when the ball was snapped.
Third down and less than a yard. Oliver in there, and Haddocks. 3 tight ends. Short yardage offense. They're bumper to bumper in there. Good run turned over by Haddocks. They're calling for a fumble out over the 31, and it is. Haddocks has fumbled the football. 2 fumbles in the last 2 series for the Eagles.
Looks like the cornerback, Wayne Smith, the veteran at the bottom of the pile there with the ball. A pretty good hit. It looked like it had to bring it out of there. There was a big jam up in the middle, and there were a lot of hats flying around the football. Let's see if we can pick up who got it. The cutback right here. Somebody came in. 45 looked like Leonard Smith. It looked like he might have just been in there digging at it. Here's a closer look.
The Eagles have only lost 10 fumbles, but these 2 could be catastrophic. Inside fake by Lomax. Right to work. Going to the outside to Roy Green, who has it for a first down inside the Eagle 20. Fouls covering about as closely as you could.
Timing pattern that time. That's a deep comeback pattern towards the sideline, run by Green. And this ball by Lomax will be released before he makes his cut. Ball's gone right now. Good timing.
Roy Green, the fellow that used to be a great defensive back and a good punt returner. In 81, he said, I just want to go one way where the money is. Give me the offensive football. What a receiver. Right now, Lomax inside the 20. He's 9 of 18 for 74 yards and heating up, obviously. Going to the outside, looking away. Touchdown to Tilley. They're going to call it a touchdown. A diving catch by the little guy from Louisiana Tech.
That was a good read by Lomax because they had Herman Edwards all alone over on the left side. Single coverage man-to-man on Pat Tilley. Lomax looked at the defense down the middle, spotted what it was, and went right over to where it was single coverage. Tilley took Edwards into the post, ran a post pattern on him, then with the move, broke it back outside and had Edwards beat.
A 20-second touchdown pass for Neil Lomax. And a good diving catch by Tilley in the end zone. O'Donohue trying for the extra point. Billy Perrin is holding. It's good. The fumbles, the turnovers, and oh, do they hurt. As St. Louis. That's how they lost 3 games in a row.
There's Lomax here now. Off play action. Look at him looking down the middle and over to the right. Now all of a sudden he knows where the coverage is. Single coverage. A low ball. Edwards doesn't want it to be any good, but it was.
31 yards in 2 plays. 2 very sharp passes by Lomax, and Tilley got the cigar. to 6. Eagles unable to get a touchdown yet. Don't forget, next Saturday, a big college football basketball doubleheader on CBS. At noon Eastern time, the Army-Navy Classic from Philadelphia, the 85th Classic, by the way. Then at 3:30 Eastern time, NCAA basketball, Oklahoma and Wayman Tisdale. Remember him on the Olympic team? They take on the Fighting Illini of Illinois, who are ranked number 2 in some of the early polls. That's college football and basketball next Saturday here on CBS.
That was a move by Tilley. I just happened to be looking down and watched him on that pattern, and it was a double move on Herman Edwards. Remember, Herman told us that he never runs the same pattern twice the same way, and that was a perfect example of it.
And I always thought the receivers absolutely had no conscience at all. If they could do that to you, that's the way the game is played.
The great Raymond Berry was that way. There was no way you could get a read on him on anything he did.
And they act like they're nice people, you know. They ask you about how your family is and your off-season occupation, etc. But they catch the ball and it hurts. O'Donohue kicking off. Tall Irishman gets it to the 13 where Cooper has it. Oh, a tackle at the 20. That's by Noga, the young Hawaiian, down under that number 57.
Nico Noga.
Try that one, Nico Noga.
Nico Noga.
Check him right here, number 57. He's their 8th round draft choice this year, a rookie. Now, Guarantee he isn't the fastest person on that kickoff team, but he's down there 6 yards in front of everybody through desire.
And back on the bench sitting there, relaxed.
University of Hawaii.
3:33 left in the third. 14-6, very quickly on 2 fumble turnovers by the Eagles. That's the way it happens in this league. 1st and 10 from the 20. Pisarcik across the middle, got a receiver. Woodruff at the 39.5-yard line. Tony Woodruff coming back now, making a good catch, and Pisarcik let him know.
You know, Pisarcik going to other people, as we've seen him try Woodruff, we've seen him try Mel Hoover, and I think the reason he's not looking at Mike Quick a lot is I really think that Quick's being bothered by that tendonitis in the knee. He told us yesterday that he was probably tops 90%, and when you rely on speed at that position like wide receivers do, that's pretty tough for him.
Look at the Eagles, fumble, punt, and field goal. The last 4 possessions. The toss, back to Michael Williams. The reason Williams is in there, by the way, is because Wilbert Montgomery has bruised ribs and is having to get them fixed up on the sidelines. He is out right now. Good tackle put on by E.J. Jr. Mississippi College is where Michael Williams comes from. He's a 225-pounder.
2nd and 7 at the 42.
Drafted along with Haddix the year before in what they called Marion Campbell's Mississippi Connection. 2nd down and 7. A little over 2 minutes left in the third. Second down 7. Pisarcik being rushed. Mike Quick has it. He's in the St. Louis territory and scrambles to the 43. You can't let up on him for 1 second.
Mike Quick. Tackle by Wayne Smith.
There he is now. Quick's the inside man here in the slot. That's Lionel Washington, the cornerback, with him. He ran an out pattern, and then he breaks his tackle. One of the best in the league after he catches the football.
Hang time is out of sight when he jumps, and he's playing hurt. They're a good young team. They're playing a real good offensive ball club that's been stifled until just a few moments ago. 1st and 10. Pisarcik being chased, being dropped at the 49-yard line.
A big penetration originally. Pisarcik really didn't even have time to set up and plant and throw that time, and he had pressure on him. And then they brought a blitz man, E.J. Jr. He got by him, and then the third guy finally got to him.
Elo Grooms was in there again. Looks like he's taped up and decided to play hurt also.
Look at the man that's down at the left of him there. Someone got in extremely fast. Number 60, Baker, going by. Here comes Junior 54, the blitz guy. And he gets credit for the sack.
Cardinals do a lot of twisting. They put tackles and ends and interchange them on that 4-man rush. You got to stay with them. 3rd sack of Pisarcik. Pisarcik tries to get it to Wilbert Montgomery, and number 59 knocks it down. That's young Thomas Howard.
Knocked down by number 59, Thomas Howard.
Jaworski was hurt on the first offensive series, and Marion Campbell went with Joe Pisarcik. Jaworski with a fractured fibula, the small bone in the lower leg. First series, hit and dropped after 116 consecutive starts. Pisarcik is 18 of 27 for 147 yards. 3rd down and 15. Pisarcik for Quick. He's hit at the 40 and taken back to the 43 by Benny Perrin. Let's go to New York City in an NFL update with Brent Musburger.
Brookie, here's a big moment for the Bucs against the Rams. The Bucs had kicked that field goal, got the ball back, and then DeBerg threw the ball to Adger Armstrong, got in for a touchdown, and now it's 26-17 back to Brookie.
Tampa Bay continuing to improve on offense, Brett. Michael Horan kicking, trying for the corner. Stump Mitchell just watching this one. It's a pretty good looking kick. Coffin corner at the 4.5-yard line. Look at the 2 kickers.
First and 10, St. Louis.
That's when you feel like you've been kissed, when you get off a punt like that, right? Don't forget, coming up next, most of you will see the class of the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers. They could clinch that NFC Western title against the Saints today. Those of you in the Midwest and Tampa will see the Chicago Bears try to get their first big playoff win since 1963. They play the Minnesota Vikings. All this action here on CBS. 14 seconds left in the third period. A 14-6 lead for St. Louis, but this is by no means a lock. Lomax from his own 5 or less. First and 10. The drive play off the left side. Bouncing out is Farrell, and keeps on his feet to get to the 7, purely on his own effort. That's the last play of the third quarter. The score, St. Louis 14, Philadelphia 6. We now pause for a word from your local station.
It is a day filled with pageantry and passion. The 85th Army-Navy game, college football, next Saturday on CBS Sports. This is CBS.
Introducing the new Jeep Wagoneer Limited, with a luxurious leather interior not available in the Buick Estate Wagon, a larger standard engine than Volvo GLT Wagon, and even more cargo space than Dodge Caravan. And Jeep Wagoneer lets you shift on the fly from 2-wheel to 4-wheel drive. Wagoneer luxury in 4-wheel drive, only in a Jeep.
Big red, that's what they're chanting here. And the mascot's not bad either, right? 14-6, a big play here, second down and 8 on the 7. Lomax, he'll be throwing from the end zone on the 1. Oh, he's hit. Was the arm coming forward? Incomplete pass. Joel Williams from the weak side got the QB.
Joel Williams, one of the good blitzing linebackers in the league. 16 sacks in 1980. That topped the NFC. Watch him come in from the left side of your screen. 2 backs over to that side. One of them had to pick him up. Nobody did. 31 is Farrell, and he takes an inside and runs right by him, and Lomax pays the price.
Bringing up a third down and 8 from the 7. Dangerous. Lomax now in the shotgun will be on the 1. The 4-man rush is on. Lomax out of the end zone finds Tilley. Tilley is hit and dropped at the 13 by Hopkins. And Lomax got up slowly.
We mentioned pinched nerve in his shoulder, and we talked to him yesterday, Tom, and we said, you know, are you okay? Are you 100%? And he said, yeah, but it wasn't what you'd call a real committed, yeah, I'm okay. I think he is hurting some.
I think he has really matured, though. You know, he took a lot of the blame for the 3 losses that weren't his. He just said the 4 interceptions against the Giants were just awful. And now Birdsong kicking from the end zone. Cooper back at the Eagle 43. 14 minutes left in this ball game. Oh, barely gets it out, almost blocked. Taken by Cooper on the fair catch at the 48-yard line. But Sarchek will be in pretty good shape. It's 14-6 St. Louis. Eagles with the football.
Where you going? Over there.
The new Subaru sedan is so much larger and more luxurious, you probably won't recognize it. But don't let its good looks fool you. It's still inexpensive and built to stay that way.
When a road is slippery, braking your car can cause skidding or worse. Now Tevis, an ITT company, has an anti-lock brake system to help keep your car under control. A built-in computer senses the road and brakes the wheels without locking. This ITT Tevis system is beginning to reach cars this year. Not a winter too soon.
Last week against the Redskins, filling in for Jerry Robinson, did an excellent job, and does an excellent job every week on the special teams. I can't even see him. I was so close to that ball.
The Eagles
could feel it go by.
The Eagles with 14 minutes. They need 8 points. Keep it in mind. We're talking about a touchdown and a field goal. in St. Louis territory at the 48. Pisarcik back. He's got a lot of time. He's going for quick, and it's knocked away beautifully at the 19 or 20-yard line by Leonard Smith. Let's go to New York City on NFL Update. Brent?
Rookie, the Rams have charged right back in it. Eric Dickerson, 18 carries, 118 yards. Jeff Kemp on that 1-yard dive. And remember, that missed extra point is critical. Rams only trail by 2 points, 26-24, back to Brookie.
Boy, Brent, the missed extra point keeps hanging there, doesn't it? 2 points.
They don't go away, do they?
Never do. Back to Hauncha. Second down and 10. What good defensive play on one of the superior receivers in football. Out in the flat. Haddix gets away from one tackle. Gets inside the 40 to the 36-yard line. And he has great straightaway speed. Lionel Washington barely getting number 26.
No, that was really a good throw by Pisarcik. If he throws that ball a little bit behind him or to the side, Haddix can't make that kind of adjustment. That's a tough throw right here now that the quarterback has to make, and it has to be in the right spot. If the backs all want it in front of him so they can make the catch and then look downfield immediately and avoid a hit just like that. Number 59, Thomas Howard, wanted to put on him. Had that ball been behind him a little bit, he'd have caught it and then paid for it right there.
Has the 40 and about 4-4, mostly straight ahead. He's going to be some fullback. First and 10. Big catch by Michael Haddix. Pisarcik being chased, now dumps it out. Hubie Oliver falls on it at the 39. No good. Smith was right there. That's a good one not to catch, probably.
Well, I think everybody pays when they hit that guy, number 34, the rock man, Hubie Oliver. Whether he makes a yard or not, you know you've been hit.
Ted Marcia-Broda. You can see his impression on the Eagle offense this year. This team's going to get a lot better. Head coach at Baltimore, and a winning one there. Had his troubles with Irsay, but what coach doesn't? Second down and 10 on the 37 of St. Louis. Pisarcik being chased. Holding's going to be called on Baker. Pisarcik is sacked back at the 43-yard line, but I believe they were holding.
Yes, I think Elo Grooms, number 78, was back there originally. He chased Pisarcik up, and it might be against Leonard Mitchell on Grooms.
Holding, number 63, offense, declined, third down.
Ron Baker, as we said, Floyd Peters' defensive line stunts a lot. The defensive ends come inside and the tackles go outside.
Those two guys there, Hannafin and Floyd Peters, been together here in St. Louis and once played on a semi-pro team together in California called the Salinas Packers. They were roommates. Tom Flores was in that league too. They got two head coaches out of that same league. Can you believe that?
Here's the big play in the ball game. Third down at 16. Eagles at the 44-yard line of St. Louis, and it's shotgun. He's got time. Pisarcik overthrowing everybody at the Hoover. The flag is dropped at the 23-yard line. Hoover, the intended receiver. There is some discussion as
whether the ball was catchable, probably.
That's it. Let's see. Pat Haggerty is the man in charge of the crew.
Disregard the flag. The ball was non-catchable. Fourth down.
As Wayne Walker said, non-catchable. Disregard the flag. I'm not so sure Coach Campbell will agree.
Not so sure I would have agreed with the call in the first place had the ball been catchable. Wayne Smith, number 44, in pretty good shape on it. I really think at this stage of the game, in a game that's this important, that you got to let a little jostling going around that they do in the NBA and they do in hockey.
No harm, no foul. Michael Horan now kicking from the Eagle 45. This is not as good a kick as the previous ones. In fact, this is a bad kick. They're going to mark this one back up. They're still trying to walk it off. Horan can't believe it. Neither can Coach Campbell. Call it the 21-yard line. St. Louis has not only held, they have stemmed the tide. A 22-yard punt.
And that's not all.
Passes, you can't see his eyes. Before you could see his defense. He's a great defensive coordinator wherever he's been. Handoff. Cardinals now trying to keep the ball. Anderson doesn't look like he was trying to get outside very much. In fact, it looked like the ball hadn't been snapped. Moran obviously unhappy with himself after a 22-yard punt. Pretty tough life.
Life of a kicker is sometimes like the life of a distance runner, very lonely. It's just as good as your last kick.
Second down and 11 from the 21. Pittman is in for the Cardinals. The lone back is Anderson. Lomax being sacked, dumps it out in the flat. Anderson gives it a Pele move and kicks it along the ground. Somebody was zeroing him in at that. I believe it was Denny Harrison.
It's a little shovel pass forward by Lomax, who was in trouble, and it was low to OJ, and he couldn't come up with it. Pressure by Harrison. Take a peek now. Good coverage downfield because Lomax has time originally. 68 has the pressure. Jody Schultz is back there, and
that's not in the possession of the pass rusher. Looked like they had him wrapped up.
Close to it.
Sometimes they call it, sometimes they don't. Third down and 11 from the 21. Shotgun. Big play for the Eagles defensively. Lomax is down at the 13.5-yard line. Harrison came quickly, and so did Darby, number 94.
Lomax, I don't really think was touched by anyone in this one. He just anticipated a hit back there and went down under big pressure. 94. Brian Darby, second-year player out of USC. Initial pressure. Here comes Harrison, number 68, and had to get under it. Look at Darby's doing a little gas to know.
Got to be careful. Birdsong has got to be careful right now. The Cardinal punter's in the end zone. As we've said, once in a while he gets nervous. Pretty good kick, though, under extreme pressure. Cooper at the 47. Cooper to the 46. Pisarcik will bring out the offense with pretty good field position. Good tackle by Randy Love. It's 14-6 St. Louis. My shoulder separation is gone, and I can rest up in the offseason. He's the #1 draft out of Penn State. Heard in that Giant game.
I'd love to have him back. I know Mike Quick would like to have him back because when he's in there, he doesn't see as much double coverage.
Yeah, his last game against the Giants, he had an 83-yarder and split the zone. Pisarcik has the job. 1st and 10 now on the 46-yard line of St. Louis. Out of time. Pisarcik out to Wilbert Montgomery. And E.J. Jr. really separates ball carrier and ball.
Well, I'll tell you, he's having a career game. Number 54, E.J. Jr. He had 12 solo tackles, 1 assist at the half, and he's been on about a half dozen more since then.
Wilbert got up slowly, and number 31 does not back off. E.J. Jr. becoming a very physical linebacker.
He gave us about a 10-minute filibuster on Saturday about linebacking, didn't he? Up in the seats here, we were sitting in the sun. And he entertained us for a long time, E.J. did.
Thought he was doing a telethon. 2nd down and 10 from the 46. Eagles getting somewhat desperate. Maddox gets a spin, gets away. Good tackle at the 49-yard line by Lee Nelson. A lot of red here at Busch Stadium, in the stands as well as on that field. That's good football play. Good wrapped-up tackle.
You bet. Number 38, Lee Nelson, used to be a starter here at safety and lost his job this year to Leonard Smith. He comes in the nickel situation. He's led in the team in tackles last year from strong safety.
St. Louis is trying to get a wave started in the stands. Right now, Pisarcik is trying to get points. He trails by 8. Shotgun time on 3rd and 12. Across the middle. Knocked away from Woodruff at the 36-yard line. Wayne Smith hanging pretty tough today.
Smith with a fine job that time and a pretty good afternoon on the coverage. He was picked up on waivers at the end of the 82 season by the Cardinals from Detroit. He was a starter there, and he made a good move while the ball was in the air and got a hand on that one.
Michael Horan kicking now as we go back to live action. This is a good-looking punt that's going to go into the end zone. The young punter came back and laid it down the line and didn't get the bounce. Good kick. It'll come out to the 20. Boy, that makes you smile as a DB to have a day like number 44 has had. He's really covered people beautifully. Wayne Smith there grinning. Don't forget, NFL football next week on CBS Sports. It all starts with the NFL today. Then as the NFC East scramble heats up, most of you will see Dallas taking on Philadelphia. Those of you in the Northeast will see the Jets and the Giants. The Midwest will see St. Louis and New England, or Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Next Sunday on CBS Sports. 1st and 10. Lomax would like to keep the football now and take it right in the dressing room and put it on the mantle later. Play action pass. Going deep for Green. Knocked away by Fowles. Knocked away beautifully by Albert Fowles at the 30-yard line, and that ball was thrown 55 yards in the air.
And against Roy Green, the play was made, who, as we mentioned earlier, one of the top speedsters at wide receiver, and defensive backs will all tell you that he has the ability to separate while the ball's in the air. It seems like he's going full speed, and then the ball's in the air, and he has another gear to put it into. Watch number 29 turn around and play the ball just beautifully at cornerback, and it cannot be done any better than that.
Fowles, who took over when Roynell Young had that strange intestinal pull up in his stomach that hasn't gotten well. I tell you, Fowles has weathered the storm. What a play. 2nd down and 10 from the 20. Lomax not putting the offense away. He's bringing it out. Here's the straight run. Anderson, maybe a half yard. Kenny Clark and company tough in there. Remember, this is a big offensive line for the Cardinals. And some people think one of the best young lines in football.
You got those two bookend tackles, Tootie Robbins and Louis Sharp, that they got 3 years ago in the draft, and they're going to be around for a good probably 10 more years. We asked Jim Hannafin who was playing best for him up front offensively in the line, and he said, he went right down the line and said they all are. They're all having a good year.
Sharp, Terry Steve, Randy Clark, Bostic, and Tootie Robbins, as you said, they are big and solid. 3rd down and 8 on the 22. Lomax. Oh, good throw. Roy Green steps out at the 37-yard line. Man, this was a nice pass play. Lomax threw a clean one.
Off the shotgun right here, Roy Green runs the out pattern. Lomax waiting with good protection, nobody in his face. And that was on Fowles again, number 29, but he had a lot of space between him and the sideline. That's tough coverage when a guy like number 81 can go both ways on you.
He gets in that slot position, too.
Yeah.
You can't cover him up enough, you know. Get your hands on him. The 5-yard bump rule still in existence. It's really changed this game. Lomax now 12 of 24 for 116 yards. 2 touchdowns. Big 1st down play. 9:41 left in the 4th period. Out in the flat, Anderson chased and run out of bounds by Kenny Clark from behind at the 35. What a play by the nose tackle. The clock here at Busch Stadium, 9:34. 14-6 lead for St. Louis. It has not been easy. But the Eagles simply have not been able to capitalize. They've had a few chances and got down there. Hoover dropped the ball in the end zone. It's been tough. Marion Campbell in his 2nd year as head coach of Leonard Toz's team. Roy Green dropped it almost, fumbles it back at the 39. Ball thrown a little bit downhill that time. Herm Edwards in good position. Edwards got his 29th career interception for the Eagles last week and tied my old buddy Don Burroughs, the Blade, at 29. Billy Bradley has 34. Super Bill does to lead that category.
Herman said that he's getting a few more balls thrown at him now at the beginning of the season when young Albert Fowles was making the start on the left corner, that they were picking on him some, and he said, but now they're coming back to me because because Albert has held his own, and said you really can't make good plays unless they throw the ball at you.
good veteran, a free agent that's made it big. Lomax being chased out, flushed out. The ball is thrown for Stump Mitchell, and the official can't get his flag out. Now he does. Wes Hopkins unloaded on Stump Mitchell. The official almost tore his pants up trying to get the yellow flag out.
Hopkins just there early on the hit.
Defensive pass interference. Push on.
Off a third down play here now, and it's Lomax and his scrambling ability to get out of that pocket right here that make this play. Here's Mitchell, and the ball's delivered, and you see Hopkins over the shoulder with an arm on the back before the ball gets there.
I thought it was a pretty good play. I thought the ball was by before he got him around the neck. If you can't hit in this game, you might as well take up table tennis or something. All right, 1st and 10 on the 41. Inside play. Farrell stacked up at the 46.5-yard line. Cardinals like this young player, Farrell.
And so did Fred Bruni, the defensive coaches of the Eagles, said they think a lot of him. He's a good, tough one. He was a special teamer for a couple of years and starting this year for the first time out of East Tennessee State. Only carried 7 times last year. You see he had 34 rushes coming into this one.
Keep in mind that if the Eagles lose this one, they are gone for this season. And they've lost Ron Jaworski, the quarterback, with a fractured fibula. And Dallas coming into Philadelphia next week. It'd be a tough one to recover from. 2nd down and 3. Anderson into Eagle territory. Fumble the football, and Philadelphia's come up with it. 8.5 minutes on the clock.
We're seeing a good defensive game here this afternoon. It's not what I expected from these two teams. In particular, I thought St. Louis might throw the ball around and put more points on the board, but just good team defense right here. Watch number 58, Griggs, the middle linebacker, come over now. Well, he's in good shape. He's trailing behind the ball. He's in there with the hit, and out comes the football. Perfect defense by the inside linebacker. If he'd overrun that thing, OJ would have seen that and cut back inside.
Joel Williams fell on it, but you're absolutely correct. Griggs caused it right on the hip and made the big contact. 2 turnovers, big ones, the fumbles in this 3rd quarter, and the one that St. Louis just committed. 1st and 10 near midfield. Joe Pisarcik, the quarterback, gets it to the receiver at the 48-yard line, and there's almost a problem as Woodruff and Leonard Smith struggle.
Leonard Smith, the 2nd-year player, was drafted as a cornerback and had an ankle injury last year. Didn't play any. They moved him to strong safety in the preseason at training camp this year, and he played well enough there to beat out the veteran Lee Nelson, as we told you.
And the way they're calling defensive interference, you know, it takes a lot of nerve to play the way he does. 34-26. The Rams up by 8 points now. Cincinnati 35, Atlanta 14. 2nd down and 7 here. 7:49 on the clock, and it's running. Pisarcik outside, wide open, quick, look out. Quick at the 35, 30, quick, hurdling inside to the 15-yard line. He literally jumps over people.
Boy, a great move. And we're talking about a pretty good move to get open, but a better move after he caught the ball on the sideline and spun out of there. Look at that stun up front by the Cardinals, and Pisarcik made a good throw over traffic. Number 45 again is Smith. Now watch that. Is that an athlete or not? He's going down. He gets a hand down on the ground, keeps himself up, and looks like a young O.J. Simpson after he has the ball.
A good block downfield by Woodruff, I believe, that came over to help the other receiver quick get inside. I'll tell you, the Eagles are knocking. 7 minutes still left in the ball game, an 8-point margin. A quick defensive shift by St. Louis. Going for it all. Pisarcik, touchdown to Quick. What a catch. And what a throw. Pisarcik gets up. Smith was there, but so was Quick.
So it narrows down. Kenny Jackson over there. Watch it ISO now. 44, Wayne Smith. He's a veteran at corner.
Oh, boy. What a move.
Yep.
up the extra point, number 8, Paul McFadden.
They don't come any better than that. Rookie year didn't look like he was going to add too much. Last year he proved he's one of the best in the league, and this year he's going to keep piling them on. Pisarcik holding, McFadden is kicking. Perfect hold again, good snap. And the young man puts it through there. Keep in mind that McFadden is 20 of his last 22 field goals. It's 14-13 St. Louis. The Eagles are back in the ballgame. A short kick. A short kick, and Stump Mitchell takes it to the 15. Look out. Mitchell gets in a hurry to the 32-yard line. McFadden's kick was sort of high and short.
Mike Quick, number 82, right there, who you saw make that great move. And, you know, it's so tough on a defensive back when you get a guy like Quick or Roy Green, and he gets to be in there in the slot on you, and you have to cover him both ways. When you're out there lined up wide, you can use the sideline as your friend a little bit and overplay the other side. But when they bring him in on the slot now and they have two ways to go on you, it makes it especially tough.
And remember, when he and Kenny Jackson are in there together, you've got to decide if you're going to double both outside receivers. Your tight ends are going to catch 70 balls a year. 3 plays, 51 yards. Boy, some great catches by Mike Quick in there. Pisarcik handling the offense very well. 1st and 10 from the 33. Lomax got to eat up some of the clock. There's still 6:50 left. Straight drop back. Now the dash out. Lomax is going to be... Throws back into territory. Jody Schultz almost intercepted it.
He was out of bounds before he threw, I think, Boogie.
Pisarcik got up after the touchdown strike. The big rush got him, but not before he delivered it for the touchdown. His first touchdown pass of the year. Jaworski has a fractured fibula, is out for 1984. And this fellow was ready to play. What a great job. 23 of 37, 218 yards and a touchdown.
And did come back in the second half and opened it up some after coming in and getting settled in the game and establishing himself in the flow of things. He's had a fine afternoon.
Good man. 6:41 left. Lomax stepped out of bounds, so now it's 2nd down and 17. Don't go away, folks. Lomax doesn't have time. Kenny Clark has him. Clark has Lomax certainly in his grasp at about the 14-yard line.
Boy, back there immediately. Kenny Clark came into this one with 7.5 sacks. That was 3rd best on the Eagles. It looked like he got back there in a sprinter stance that time. He said he's cutting loose a lot more this year, playing situations. He said, I kind of played safe my first couple of years. He said, but not anymore. I'm confident in my ability and the guys around me, and I can take some chances out there on pass situations.
We're talking about number 71, and the bench is extolling the virtues of a big pass rush. The 4th sack for 31 yards and losses, and St. Louis right now is back in. It's 6:20 on the clock. 3rd down and lots, 27. Intercepted. Intercepted by Albert Fowles. He's inside the 20. Down to the 13-yard line. And the Eagle bench is going completely bananas.
Now they're going to boo Lomax for that interception, Brookie. And they are as he comes off the field. But number 81, Roy Green, was the intended receiver, and he slipped and fell and was on the turf just as Lomax released.
The Eagle defense has shut down the rushing game. Lomax really doesn't have much choice.
Watch it right here now. Let's see if we can pick up 81 Green. He'll make a move inside. There he goes down. See him right over the middle? He's down on the ground. Lomax released just about the same time that Green went down. He was anticipating where he'd be, not anticipating the fact that he'd slip. The fans saw that. Albert Fowles gets the interception. They blame Lomax, but it really wasn't his fault.
Fowles' 4th interception of the year. I formation. Pisarcik back to work. Inside drive. Montgomery. If anything, a foot. Bubba Baker making the stop. Otho Davis working on Fowles up in that acromioclavicular area, up around your shoulder blade. I mean, your shoulder, what do you call it? Your collarbone.
That's what I call it. You had the good name for it.
I've had about all of those. Well, this young man has played extremely excellent corner. in a league where you can only take a shot at somebody in the first 5 yards. Splendid indeed. 2nd down and 9. Give Montgomery 1 yard on 1st down. Pisarcik. He's got time. Now he's being rushed. He takes the loss at the 16-yard line rather than throw the ball
It's a
away.
smart sack. It's a smart sack. You can't put it up for grabs now because they got one of the most consistent field goal kickers of this season on the sideline over there, and they need 3 to go ahead. Here it is right here. He's going to take a good look downfield. There's nothing there. He's not going to risk anything. He was looking to go down even before he was hit. That's a good safe play and a smart play by Pisarcik.
The ball is on the 16. 5 minutes on the clock. And behind Marion Campbell is the young kicker for the Eagles, Paul McFadden. As Wayne Walker told you, one of the hottest kickers in football. Boy, there's going to be some tension on him. 3rd down and 13. Shotgun. Completion to Quick inside the 10 to the 8-yard line. Leonard Smith taking a little bit of a trailer ride. And here comes the young man. He's hit 2 already.
That'll relieve some of the pressure on him, getting him a little bit closer.
Mike Quick is down. We told you his left knee has had tendinitis most of this season, but he is down right now, and he looks like he's hurt.
And it's an inopportune injury, not only for the Eagles because of Mike Quick being down, but for McFadden now has to go out there and stand around and think about that field goal that he's going to have to kick. And keep in mind, too, that Ron Jaworski is his regular holder. And Jaws, of course, won out of this game early. It's been Pisarcik back there holding for him, and he's done an excellent job putting it down all afternoon. But any kicker that's ever kicked will tell you they just as soon go with their regular guy.
Dr. DeStefano and Otho Davis. The #1 draft from 3 years ago out of North Carolina State. I'm telling you, once he gets a hold of the football, he's as dangerous as Tommy McDonald or Retzlaff or any of them. And we've had some great receivers run around in the Eagle uniform over the years.
I was just going to ask you about, you've played in a lot of these games and seen so many of them between these two teams. Why is it when Philadelphia and St. Louis get together that there are so many injuries, and it's such a hard-hitting affair? It reminds you of, you know, the Raiders and the Steelers, or the Lions and the Bears, and rivalries like that, and it's just no different. Let's see if we can pick it up right here. He just came down hard on just about everything he had. He came down hard on an elbow, on a shoulder, on a knee, a foot or an ankle, you name it. And it probably got bumped on that tackle.
It's a new artificial surface here at Busch Stadium, and it is softer, but it's still like wet cement. Mike Quick being helped off. And now McFadden will tee it up. Pisarcik will hold it at the 16. It's a 26-yard attempt. It's a good hold. No good. Wide left. It's a 3-man project, but Jimmy Turner, the old field goal kicker with the Jets and the Broncos, said it's 80 or 85% kicker's fault if you get a good hold and snap when you don't get it through there.
How do you figure? He was 25 of 29 on the year. And that one is set down here for him. Let's watch the snap and the hold. Snaps right over where Pisarcik wants it. He gets it down in good shape. And it's not to be.
Just to the left. Lomax must keep the football. Still 4:18 left. The flags are down. Anderson storms up the middle to the 28-yard line. Flags are down. The clock stops with 4:12.
Penalty flag down.
Offsides. Philadelphia. Can St. Louis keep the football?
Offsides. Number 53, defense, decline, 2nd down.
Can the Eagles get one more chance? But this young kicker is certainly one of the best. McFadden Roy Green on the sidelines. He's got a bruised left hand. He's got ice on it. Nothing hurts when you're trying to win, and you still got a chance for the playoffs. If the Cardinals lose, they're done this year, too. Anderson breaks through a big hole, gets to the 36-yard line. The crowd senses a victory, but it's not there yet.
Everybody will start to watch the clock now on both teams, and everybody remaining in the stadium as we go under 4 minutes.
Both teams have their timeouts. Anderson now at 83 yards on 18 carries. Now the Eagle defense will start to tackle the football. They got 2 away from John Riggins a week ago in that upset of the Redskins. They'll be going for it from now on. Anderson bounces outside at the 40. Stopped by Ray Ellis.
Only the great ones can make that kind of adjustment. It looked like he was on roller skates, and there's McFadden, and you know the youngster's thinking, please work it out some way where I can get one more chance.
Boy, he is as cool under pressure. We saw him kick 2 over 50 yards against Detroit to get him in the overtime. He had 3 that day, 3 for 3.
We just got a sideline report from the Eagles side of the field on Mike Quick, and it's a rib injury. Got hit in the ribs, and it's questionable whether he will return.
2:49. The clock is running. Both teams have 3 timeouts. 2nd down and 6. Drive play. Anderson just looking to keep the ball. Is knocked back to the 38-yard line.
Well, if you've ever had a rib injury, they can be the most painful of them all.
Be watching the Late Show for the next 10 days. You can't sleep at night. There's no way to get comfortable. A timeout's being burned now by the Eagles.
Broke a couple ribs one time and had to be helped in and out of the car. Could drive okay, but couldn't get in and out.
You can see the arch in the background here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Don't forget, coming up next, most of you will see the classic of the NFC. At least we think it's the best team. The San Francisco 49ers could clinch that Western Division title. They've only lost once. That was against Pittsburgh. Those of you in the Midwest and Tampa will see the Chicago Bears try to clinch their first championship since '63 against the Minnesota Vikings. More NFL action coming up next on the doubleheader day for CBS Sports. San Francisco. They had a little trouble with Philadelphia. If you recall, when they came in to play the Eagles at Vet Stadium, Montana was injured with his sternum being hurt. Young Kavanaugh still beat the Eagles, but it was a close game.
Jim Hannafin with Lomax over there. Hannafin told us, you know, before the game that he was worried that Lomax was emotionally down after the 3 straight losses and the fact that he hadn't performed as well as he thought he should have. Lomax said, I felt that when we were 6-3 and my progression as a quarterback was coming along, I was building step by step, and now I kind of feel like I've taken 2 or 3 steps backward, and he's come out today and performed pretty well against an extremely tough defense.
Well, they got rid of Jimmy Hart. He's down backing up Joe Theismann, which is a way to not play any football. And they got 2 rookie quarterbacks in here now, so Lomax, whether he's hurt or not, he figures he has to carry the ball club. He's done some job. 2:28 left and 2 timeouts left for Philadelphia. Lomax from the shotgun. Being sacked, fumbles the football. That's a live football. I believe Philadelphia has it.
And McFadden's prayer may have just been answered.
Dennis Bigfoot Harrison crawled and put the paw on that one. What a pass rush.
You bet. It just totally collapsed around Lomax.
Again, the green and white over there celebrate. Jim Hannafin has seen everything happen in the last month.
Turnovers have, we mentioned, been the bugaboo of the Cardinals for this 3 previous weeks on 3 losses. And it's just a club rush. Harrison's back there, 68. Brown, Bryan, Darby. And look at that effort. Hands and knees all out by Dennis Harrison to come up with the fumble.
6'8". He stretches out to get that like he's on the floor of the NBA. The toss back to Wilbert Montgomery. Montgomery inside the 20 to the 18. 2 minutes, a little over over 2 minutes left. The Eagles still have 2 timeouts left. The Cardinals 3. But the Eagles have the ball. And a timeout is taken. We haven't been told which team took it yet. I think the Cardinals took this one.
Number 1.
You can see the clock, 2:03 left, and the score, and the kicker.
I think that was an excellent choice by Jim Hanifin to take a timeout right there, because that stops the clock now. Philadelphia will run one play, and then it'll stop again for the 2-minute warning. And I think he's anticipating the fact that the Eagles are going to put 3 on the board here, at least with a field goal. And he's just working on it right now to leave as much time on the clock for his team offensively as possible. That's why the St. Louis took that timeout.
Tell me this, as a kicker, and you kicked with the Lions, would you rather have a fairly long kick? Would you rather have a 35-yarder than a 15-yarder?
No.
Would you like to be as close as possible?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The wedge rather than the 6-iron,
You
right?
betcha.
All right.
Anytime.
Well, young McFadden, Paul McFadden, he's not shirking his duties. He's over by himself trying to keep relaxed.
I had that good job in Detroit when Garo Yepremian came up. You know, I only kicked when we didn't have anybody, and they signed Yepremian to kick. And Harry Gilmer was the head coach, and he told me, he said, we want to build Garo's confidence up. He said, you kick the long ones and let him kick the shorter ones. So I said, what about my confidence?
Second down and 6 from the 19. Pisarcik does not want to lose the football, obviously. The toss to Montgomery. Good defensive rush. Wilbert Montgomery carrying the tackler to the 15.5-yard line. The story continues.
Right, a chance for redemption, perhaps, for young McFadden.
He's hit 2 of 3. Everybody trying to keep away, more or less, like, well, let's don't act like it's important. But if you get a chance, don't miss this one. St. Louis 14, Philadelphia 13. Decided to get into broadcasting with CBS. They won 5 games last year. He's duplicated that already. And he wants one more shot, especially at these St. Louis Cardinals. Pisarcik's his quarterback since the very first series. 3rd down and 4. Rockman straight ahead inside the 15. Not enough for a first down, but holding on to the football. And here comes Paul McFadden from Youngstown State, where Jaworski came from a few years before. The numbers. He's made 31-yarder and a 43-yarder today. He missed one of 26. The Cardinals burn one to allow the young man to think about where he is.
As we mentioned, you know, perhaps that might have worked against him last time when there was an injury timeout right before he had to kick him. And it certainly doesn't help to have to go out there and think about, you know, how important it is to your team as you look at Jim Hanifin there. And, you know, and the best thing that he can do right now is get completely away from everybody and get as far away from the Cardinals as he can, because guarantee you that they'll say a few things. You get close over there, they'll talk to you a little bit.
Oh, sure they are. And they've blocked 5 field goals this year. See, Floyd Peters is telling the guys to get active out there. Remember, if this young man kicks us and the Eagles win, they would go 6-6-1. And that tie that they had against Detroit would not work against them. It would help them if they could win the next 3 games. Dennard is the snapper. Pisarcik is the holder. And Paul McFadden is the man on the spot.
32-yarder.
32-yard attempt. The snap, the hold. Does that tell you something? Look at the young man going off the field. Haggerty tells you it's good. This tells you it was good. Look at this.
Yeah, but plenty of time for St. Louis. A field goal again will put them in front, and there's 1:50 left.
And O'Donoghue has long range. Pisarcik, the holder and the quarterback.
Here it is. Pisarcik, good job again. McFadden stays down there with it, and watch his reaction. Boy, that is like coming back.
And in all fairness, the Eagles had gotten a little tired of Tony Franklin's inconsistencies back in Philadelphia.
Really? On the other side. They were hoping for the block and didn't get it. As Brookie mentioned, they have blocked several this season. And Havens says, well, now they just have to go to work offensively.
St. Louis swept October. They won 4 in a row in October. And as soon as the leaves fell, so did their chances. They've lost 3 in a row and are threatening to lose their 4th here in November. McFadden McFadden is not a deep field goal kicker. Will he keep it on the ground so that there is a chance to keep Stump Mitchell from getting good field position? Bill Friel, my eyes and ears, tells me Randy Love is in there now. And Stump Mitchell. Willie Harrell. What are we looking for from the 35? McFadden. It's a high kick. He's trying to drop it in around that 20-yard line. It's at the 20. Mitchell now will get out of bounds. Probably anticipated by the coverage team. And Lomax has 149 in which to work. The crowd not too happy. The senator from Pennsylvania, Arlen Specter, is here at the game, and he's going to be on the Eagle charter going back to Philadelphia. O'Donohue now warming up, kicking into the net. Rams 34-33, and the extra point got McKay's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's shotgun time.
Bid again.
Lomax chased, complete. Roy Green to the 37-yard line. He loses his shoe, but he must keep active now. The timeouts. One left for the Cardinals, and you can watch the clock. Oh, a low snap. Lomax handles it. He slips, falls. Now he's going to run for it. Leo Lomax into Eagle territory to the 46-yard line. What a scramble that was.
Yeah, he was looking for the yardage. He wasn't looking to go down that time, and a big guy can move pretty well.
Keeping that one timeout. They move the chains very quickly. Just over a minute left. Now he stops the clock. Throws it into the Cardinal bench.
So that'll just give him the time now to settle down and talk some things over and perhaps call 2 plays in a row.
You know, back in the mid-70s with Coryell, the Eagles lost. You can see Marion Campbell and Bruni there. The Eagles lost to the Cardinals 10 out of 12 games. And then when Vermeil got them going in '81, he beat the Cardinals here like 55-10 one game and 38-0 back in Philadelphia. And these two teams really don't like one another personally. They don't get along off the field either. It's a mutual thing that they say, let's just play the game and go back to our own cities. McFadden, number 8. Oh boy, happiness is. A rookie. Boy, great scores today. The Giants by 1 over Kansas City. New York very, very much alive at the top of this division. Tied with the Dallas Cowboys. The crowd now pulling for those Cardinals. Lomax adjusting. Stump Mitchell knocked down at the 30. I don't see a flag. It's either Herm Edwards or Ellis. It was Ellis, I believe, cutting through the Stumpy one's wake.
That's who it was. Edwards was short that time, and Lomax had to throw it over him.
St. Louis will go 6-7 after being 6-3 at one time. Can you believe that? The most explosive offense in the league. Anderson outside. Anderson finally runs into trouble at the 44-yard line and uses his forearm to keep Herman Edwards off.
Tried to cross up the Philadelphia defense by running in that situation, and they were ready for it. They were in good shape. And that's, as we pointed out, as we see Anderson down over there in an obvious pain. It's just a well-coached defense by Marion Campbell. They're alert every situation, and they're not fooled much.
Otis Anderson uses that arm when he's trapped on the sidelines, and he can batter people like he knocked Hopkins out of that game earlier in the year. And it looks like he might have hurt his arm doing that this time. Washington 41-14. Don't ever count the Redskins out. The NFC East is still jump ball.
Well, let's set the situation here a little bit too, Brookie. You know, they did not gain many yards that time, probably about 4. So they're 4th down now, 6 yards to go,
and no timeouts remaining for St. Louis.
0 timeouts, so they cannot kick a field goal here because that's completely out of O'Donohue's range. So they've got to use the 4th down now, run a play, hope to pick up a 1st down, and then continue this drive.
Remember, they used to have the most accurate kicker in probably all of football at one time, Jimmy Bakken. But he was straight away. O'Donoghue from Dublin, Ireland, by way of Auburn, comes side saddle. He is tall, and he has had good days, and he has had horrendous days.
Yes, he's 17 of 27 for the season as O.J. Anderson is up. So here it is. This is the down of the game so far.
Crowd better give this fellow an applause. He is some talent. Looks like he's lost his razor the last couple of days. Those kickers are certainly different. That's O'Donoghue on the ground. That's Anderson walking off, and that's good to see. O'Donoghue is 1 of 2 from 50 plus. A 52-yarder earlier in the year, but they've got to get closer than that.
They've got to gain about 10 yards to make it in the 50-yard range for him.
Lomax taking care of that right here. Roy Green inside the 35 to the Eagle 33. They've got to hurry up and stop the clock with a play. Roynell Young is in there, number 43. Shotgun snap out of bounds. And your clock in your living room is just like ours here at the stadium.
Talk about hanging by your fingertips. Roy Green ran a turn pattern against the zone defense and just got enough for the first down. Anderson looks pretty cool on the sideline. He's talked it all over with Lomax.
O'Donoghue, number 11 there. He just put his kicking shoe back behind like you and I do when we're cleaning up our boots, you know, to get the top of that foot cleaned off. He may be called. It's second down and 10 from the Eagle 34. 16-14 Philadelphia. Lomax, inside move now being picked up to the 26-yard line goes Danny Pittman, the former New York Giant. Not enough for a first and no timeouts left for St. Louis. The Eagles can take the normal time to get back, and they do. Kenny Clark's the last one. Now they're coming. OB, stop the clock.
And it comes down to this.
The crowd tells you this story. Be from 42 yards, make that 44 yards, 7 yards back of the snap, 7 for 14, as you see from this distance. Marion Campbell and the Eagles watching.
They may be taking a timeout. They might want him to think about it a little bit.
Remember a few years ago when the Giants played the Cardinals here, and O'Donoghue had the worst kicking night in history. He's recovered, and earlier this year he had an awful percentage, and then the last 4 or 5 games he actually has been kicking better than he was a year ago even. But this is pressure. I mean, you're at home. Your wife has to go out and go to the market and face people the next day. And the buck stops with the kicker.
After the gum over there on that sideline. This will be one of those emotional moments where it's the pendulum swings on the plus side on one side of the field, and it's a negative side on the other side of the field, and there won't be much that you can say about it. The pictures will all show it.
And a little bit of a crosswind coming by from right to left into O'Donoghue's face. Is the holder. A little high. That's good. mouth resuscitation.
Look at the snap. The snap was high, and it was brought down in excellent shape. Now, O'Donoghue's not sure. Everybody else is. He wants to look at it some more. Was that a sigh of relief or what? And as Brookie said, his wife can do the shopping tomorrow.
That was a gasp. A 44-yard field goal. Watch the coach, Hannaford. Brings you up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Remember, these St. Louis Cardinals go against the Patriots, the Giants here at home, and then finish with the Redskins. Marion Campbell's reaction. Fantastic. You gotta love this game. 8 seconds left. It's out of bounds time with whatever happens. Jaworski has not come back out on the sidelines. He is in the training room, a fractured fibula. Pisarcik has gone all the way and carried the banner very well for Philadelphia. It's a high kick. Got to play it here. That's it. 6 seconds. That is official unless we are told otherwise. We'd like to do credits and thank our executive producer, Terry O'Neill. The senior producer is Charles H. Milton III. Today's game was produced by Bobby Dekas. We always thank you, Robert, for the opportunity and setting us up so well. Directed by Bob Dunphy. He's been on top of it for you. Our associate producer, Donna Miller, and Lisa Elias, who's given us all our facts and figures, and Bill Friel, my spotter, and our hardworking crew, all of the CBS people here in St. Louis that have brought you one good tingling football game. It's 17-16 St. Louis with 6 seconds left. 3 receivers, outside receivers at the bottom of the screen. Pisarcik going deep, the last play perhaps. Everybody gathers. It's jump ball and incomplete at the 37-yard line of St. Louis. St. Louis goes 7-6 with a 17-16 win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Once again, the final score of St. Louis 17, Philadelphia 16. So for Wayne Walker, this is Tom Brookshier saying so long from St. Louis. Don't forget, coming up next, the 49ers or the Saints or maybe the Bears against the Vikings. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after this word from your local station. Wow.